Right, Seds, how are we?
I'm all right, pal. I'm back.
So Nicky's giving it all this. He's all like serious and talking tactics and doing all this to me, and now I'm hearing all this behind the scenes. Even if you don't like him, if you think they're going to do a job, you play him.
Yeah. Thing is, like, John's been dropped a lot, so I think it could be personal. Did you know it would come in?
No. There'd been some things in the summer, new ownership, and I was aware of one or two things, but I still thought I'd be given more time. I'll never forget this. He walked through the door and he had, when you have like 4 cans of beer in like one of them plastic ring things. Carling
the rings.
And he brought me 3 cans.
Right, Seds, how are we?
I'm all right, pal. I'm back.
Good to see you. Looking well.
I've hardly been in the country.
That was like, you look like shit.
I know, I'm pretty tired.
Where have you been?
I've been 3 or 4 days in Portugal, golfing, stroke working,
Yeah.
as you do. Took the kids and the family away to Turkey. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford to get my teeth done.
Oh, you're there.
All my hair, all my wing backs. And then I got back from Paris last night about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
And then up at 5 this morning with kids, so...
Yeah, you do look a bit rough, lad.
Looking a bit tired, but yeah, I'm probably dropped down to a 9 out of 10 this morning. Which is a shame.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about the new studio?
Nice, isn't it? I'm nervous.
The Sharp project.
It's
Fucking...
Can we mention that? Don't even know if we can.
Yeah, I've done it.
No, it's smart, and the guest is loving it. So,
Should we introduce him?
yeah, why not?
The magnificent strawberry blonde.
That's boring, isn't it?
I've
Dean
heard
Holden.
some stories about you, and you actually dressed quite well today, because Nicky Adams
Nicky Adams,
said
I knew you were
you've
gonna say
got the shittest gear that anyone's ever worn in football.
That's harsh.
That's very
So,
Is it?
where's that come from?
Charity
No,
shop.
you'd have to ask. All my gear on me.
No, Nicky said he was training with you one day, and your gear was that bad that Stephen Jordan
Did a Klinsmann.
wore it to training and did a Klinsmann in all the mud.
It's the younger viewers won't know what a Klinsmann is, will they?
No, probably not. Go on, explain. So what happened?
Me Mrs. Danielle, she bought me this lovely pink, as I thought it was, turtle, roll neck jumper as they were back then. We're going back 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
now.
so it was smart then.
Well, probably
There's
not.
never,
no.
what?
Pink roll neck.
A pink turtleneck has never been
So
smart.
we're doing like what they call rondos nowadays, all these cool terminology. And
Yeah.
Stevie come out late, and we were training at Manor Farm at Stockport. We were playing for Rochdale. We shared the same training ground, and Stevie come out, and Stevie's a balloon, great lad, but a lunatic. And he just flew through the mud and the puddles in this jumper. So.
Klinsmann dive.
Klinsmann did, yeah. So, and then we went on the Christmas do. I'm not sure if it was the same weekend, and Nicky set fire to it in the.
What, you wore it again?
No, I took it home and washed it,
Right.
and it shrunk. So I don't even know how they ended up getting hold of it. I couldn't even tell you. You'd have to ask Nicky.
What, he set it on fire on
And
Christmas
he set it on
Day?
fire in this nightclub in Liverpool.
You get kicked out or not?
I didn't get kicked out. It was my jumper. He got thrown out, yeah.
You know what I like there though? The preparation that he's fetched it with
Oh,
him.
he's so busy.
So he's obviously like fetched it with him in a little bag or something, hasn't he? Just
like
so
that.
he can plan to set it alight.
He's so busy. He's our skipper now, and he does these games before. So before every game, you've got to bring something in. So like 1 week it was like your birds knickers before the game. So he'd be like, right, knickers out, lads. And if you've not brought it, it's a fine. If you've got the same colour as someone else's missus, it's a fine. You just everyone's just got, yeah.
What about if you've got a massive hair? Is that a
Well, I
fine?
won't mention his name, but he got his birds duds out and they were like this, mate.
Like a
It's
blanket.
carnage.
I've seen Nicky. My lad's so he's coaching at Oldham Athletic now, isn't he?
Yeah,
My
yeah,
lad's
yeah.
just joined the academy there.
All right, okay.
My oldest,
He
Joey,
said.
and so Nicky's giving it all this. He's all like serious and talking tactics and doing all this to me, and now I'm hearing all this behind the scenes.
Well, he said we tried getting him back on for like a part 2, but he said he can't now. He's got to be all serious. So fair play, Nicky. Doing well as well as skipper.
You guys are doing well.
I've took the armband off him actually because he got injured because he's well old now. And yeah, we've won every game apart from one against Scousers, but Scousers.
I saw somebody put a post up. I can't remember. Something like 7 goals and 9 assists, weren't it?
14 games, so it's not bad from a lone striker, eh?
Well, it looks really impressive. And then you remember what league you played in, and then it doesn't look
I
as
was
good.
waiting for that.
Should I get myself off and he can be the guest on his own podcast?
He ain't got much to talk about.
No,
really,
that's
so,
it.
yeah.
7 goals. I've missed 5 one-on-ones.
Well, that's probably why you never took him for Walsall.
Yeah, we were just talking off camera, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk me through
True
this.
story, yeah.
'cause It
I
just
seen his
sends me
face
under.
drop when I said it. Yeah. It felt a bit.
Really sends
Yeah,
me
but
under. I
I'm
was at
gonna-
Rammy.
I'm going to nail him now after what he just said about me. So. No, I went down. I was just joined Walsall 2012. Dean Smith took me, and I became a bit of a player coach for them. So getting about locally, we had loads of young players out on loan at Leamington and North Ferriby and all these types of clubs. So I was doing the tour of Britain, looking at players, and came across Jordan. I think he was at Ramsbottom at the time, right? 2012, 2013. Recommendations.
How old would you been then?
19, 20 maybe.
Recommendations were good, but we had at the time. Walsall were never financially never that strong. We had Will Grigg and Jamie Patterson, who obviously went on to have really good careers for themselves. So I don't know why it never materialised, but the reports were good, I have to say. Yeah.
Cheers, pal. No, it was off the field, I think, back then. I was at uni, wasn't I?
It weren't back then. That carried on for about 8 years, did it?
No, it didn't.
So what was your report then? Can you remember? I don't suppose you can remember anything that you put, did you?
No, I just remember his movement, goal scorer. It stands out at that level, doesn't it? Because you're playing. I didn't know you were that young, actually. Now you say it, but you're playing against lads at a certain level who've been around. Some of them, big, strong, tough centre backs. Some of them not the quickest, and he just stood out. Like I said there, his little bits of movement, use of your body around the box.
It's probably the first time you've seen a 19-year-old with a Mr. Burns body. Little tubby belly and skinny arms.
Out, yeah, I was a creature.
I remember the first time I saw you and you took your top off, laughing about, and you'd never once been to a gym, had you?
No, never.
And he was like 25.
But that's what I just needed someone to take me in and say, "This is what you do," but no one did.
It's an interesting story, that, isn't it? Because I was thinking about that this morning. I saw something about Ian Wright, and I was thinking about players, how they can go through. Someone said something about Dele Alli, and my brain's ticking away like it does, and I'm like, how do players go through confidence issues? And then I was thinking about Wright coming into my mind, Jamie Vardy, and obviously I was coming in to speak to you two. You think when players come in at that from low league and they've not done the academy system, they've not had maybe the pressure of being driven to training, and they're professionalised far too young nowadays, in my opinion, anyway, at academy. When players come in, so if you would have been given a chance at 22 or something, you probably could have come in and flourished because you're not carrying that, I don't know what it is, that
weight
pressure
of
of weight. Yeah.
Yeah,
There. You look at Jamie Vardy, they're there to enjoy themselves because they're probably thinking, I'm going to make the most of it, and you know what, if it doesn't quite work out, I'll go back
to Rammy.
Well, that was
So
like I've mentioned Vardy loads of times on the podcast, because obviously I played with him at Fleetwood, but when he had a freedom that nobody else did, and that was probably part of it, because he'd come from absolutely nothing and to getting his chance of being a full time, and instead of that being the norm, it was at 23, 24, it was like, wow, pro football, and he did just play with the freedom, and if it didn't work out and he went back to his mates and he got a job, then so be it. But well, we all know what happened to him, don't we? So you never know.
The novelty's probably not worn off of him, whereas like you say, some players at 24, they've been in it since 8,
and they're fed up,
and sometimes he can fall out of the game a little bit, can't he? So.
Where did you start? Was you in a academy?
I was at Man United as a kid, sort of 12, 13, 14.
When they were good.
It was unbelievable. Like Brian Kidd and Nobby Stiles were the two coaches. So like Tuesday night, Thursday night up the cliff. Me, Richie Wellings was in my group. Wes Brown, same age. Really good team. My dad loved it. He dropped me off at the cliff, and he's seen his two heroes coaching me, and it was great. We got to about 14, and my dad's, he's got everything, like your parents do. He's still got the letter. Can you come back next season? And by then, United had like 20 odd lads at the cliff. Then they had 20 odd in Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Obviously now it's worldwide, and my dad was a bit like, we got the approach from Bolton, and he's like, if you go to Bolton Wanderers, we've literally got the 20 at Bolton, Harper Green school, Tuesday night. If you're the best in that 20, you're gonna have a chance of getting through. And it was the right decision, because he said if you're good enough, they'll come back for you anyway. So it gave me an opportunity at 13, 14, went there for a couple of years.
Was that hard to decide that then? Because that's a big decision to leave Man United to go.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember it in detail. It was my dad's decision. I think he made the decision. Obviously, would have spoke to me, but I don't remember that bit in detail. I trusted him. He'd been there from day dot, driving
you were
around.
buzzing when you turned up at Harper Green. Jesus,
from the cliff.
I used to train there. That's bad.
But you don't know any different at that age, do you?
No.
I drove past Albert Park this morning on the way coming here. They're just resurfacing it. You go past all these places that you grew up. I'm driving with the kids, and the board, you're saying, "Oh, I used to play on that." But the memories just come flooding back, don't they? It's like when you hear a song or something, it just takes you back to. So I got to just leaving school, Christmas time before leaving school, and Dean Crombie, who was a youth team manager, been there for years, ex-player, came up to us. I still remember that bit, and said, "Will you come as a YTS when you leave school?" So an amazing sort of feeling because I weren't in the under-16s team. The coach didn't like me. So I went through pretty much all my under-16s at Bolton, didn't really play much.
Getting a YT.
And still get a YT.
And the guy above him, the youth team sort of coach, obviously seen something or didn't, and probably overrode him in the decision. But
isn't it weird that, because if that goes the other way, you might never be a footballer.
yeah, I know, opportunity, innit?
It's
And it probably wouldn't happen nowadays, would it? Because
No.
the coach would probably have more of a, they have monthly meetings and they have all.
And you have about 10 people's opinions now, don't you? Where back then it was basically one person's, wasn't
Dean
it?
Holden just must have seen, I don't know if it was he seen me turning up every week, my attitude in training. That was always the one thing I prided myself on. Like my desire, and nothing was going to get in the way. I'm probably not in terms of talent, probably not the best in terms of some of the other players. And the lads are then coming over from Ireland, from Wales. They're getting a 2+1 or a 2-year YTS, 2-year pro. And I just literally scraped a 2-year YTS, and that was it, £42.50 a week. We got a raise of a £5 in the second year.
You felt loaded though, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Well, we did, because my mate was a bus driver and he used to give us some receipts so we could get some. So I used to get a lift in off my mate. I probably shouldn't say this, is it?
And in your receipts.
Yeah. So great,
Class.
the best times ever, aren't they? YT,
Yeah.
because I was listening to the one you did with Big Sam, and he was talking about his career back then, and it was obviously a different era, but similar. Cleaning Burnden Park, cleaning your initiation, getting covered in deep heat and polish, and showered, and horrendous things, but just great memories. As a like you said there, just no pressure, just trying to make the best of being a professional footballer, and can you get that pro contract, which luckily I did.
So, did you ever ask the guy why he chose you when you weren't playing, or did you just think, right?
No, I don't think that was the case back then. Like going, I mean, Sunday morning.
You couldn't speak to your coaches back then, could
No.
you, like that?
I don't know what it was. I've no idea.
So you had 2 years then to try and work to get into the first
2 years
team.
as YTS. After about a year, we moved to the Reebok, as it was then at the end of the first year. So this was Euro '96 when I joined. That was my initiation song. That
Right.
football's coming on. It's
Oh, was
embarrassing, isn't it? After 1 year, I moved to the Reebok, and I started to get in the reserve
What league
team.
were they in then? Championship?
Championship, yeah. Some good players like Alan Thompson, Goodney Bergson, some proper top pros, Jimmy Phillips and John McGinley, Nathan Blake, all them lot. And after a year, moved to the Reebok. Colin Todd got the sack. Big Sam came in, put me in the team. There was a couple of injuries, threw me in at right back.
So did Big Sam give you your debut?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was. I'd never played right back in my life, and I turned up at 6:15 at the Reebok for an evening game. We played Wimbledon, the old crazy game Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup as it is now. It was I think it was the Worthington Cup back then. And he names a team, and I'm at right back against Marcus Gale, who's just, again,
huge.
of a certain age, people remember 6'4", rapid.
Yeah.
What position
was
were you?
it.
Centre?
Played centre mid, a little bit of centre back, but mainly centre mid. So, and then went on to play for Bolton as a right back. My whole career at Bolton was as a right back. So, again, you get pigeonholed, don't you? As a young player, you're a big guy, you can go up front, or a centre back if you whatever, and then you find
I
out.
was shocked when you turned up. I didn't realise how tall you were.
Well, I'm a 6'1", 6'2", something like that.
Yeah.
Not bad for a right back.
Because I was crap in the air, that's why you say that. You had to beat me in the back post for Berry, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah, you beat me once or twice at Gig Lane, I think. Yeah, but we'll forget about that.
Oh,
I didn't
don't start.
didn't want to bring that up. I beat you at the back post, did I? That's rolls like a salmon. So, what did you learn off Big Sam, like in terms of a manager? Because obviously we'll go on to your management career afterwards, but like what was his? Because he was brilliant at Bolton. What was his main things that you really respected and you liked?
He was tough, like really tough.
Discipline, tough as in what, like training, time.
Fair, you were scared of
keeping?
him. You were scared of him. Probably 15. I only ended up playing, I don't know, I think you said 13. I think that's wrong. Might have been 20, 25 in total. Maybe with some sub-appearances.
Cup games and stuff
we
like
got
that,
through
Blame
to
Wikipedia, not me.
we got through to the FA Cup quarter-final at the Reebok again. It was against Charlton Athletic, and I went face-to-face with one of their players, John Robinson, this winger. I smashed him on the halfway line, took the ball. He gets in my face. I'm 19 at the Reebok quarter-final, and I got sent off. It was about 2 minutes into the second half. Obviously a big game for Bolton. Luckily, Idaho Johnson scored a world. He got me out of trouble. We got through 1-0, but the whole of the second half, I'm stood at the end of the tunnel just waiting.
Shit, innit?
Please win. Because
Panicking.
everything's on you, innit?
Yeah.
And he come down, he got hold of me by the scruff of the neck.
Even after the won?
Yeah, and it was almost a bit of a lesson, I think. Like,
Yeah.
no one had seen it. It was in the far corner. Graham Pole sent me off. And still protest my innocence, as you can see now. And I think he did it as a bit of a you've got away with that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Went in on the Monday, 2 weeks.
What's he said to you then? He
said, "What did you do, son? What did you do?" And I kind of had a bit of a red mist at the time. And I couldn't quite remember what had happened. It As weird as that sounds, I knew they'd been a coming together, but maybe it's the pressure of the game or whatever. And I said I didn't touch him, and it touched. We did literally, when you go sort of, and you're hoping everyone comes in and holds you off, so you don't have to. One of them. And,
2 goals down first there.
Football fights are brilliant, aren't they? Because everyone's like that, and you're thinking, someone grab me, please. I don't like. There's no punches for it, is it? So
we went through Beverley races on the Monday, so I came in 2 weeks' wages cash, as it was.
No.
To the rest of the first team group, and off we went. And I think they appreciated the fact I'd give them. And I weren't on loads of money, obviously back then, but as a young pro. But
and did you have to do that? Or...
Yeah, that was on me. That was it.
90 quid.
I was a pro by then. It's a bit more than that. Not much more, but he touched on it in the podcast. I was listening, as I said, that because he come back from America, he's big, he's tough, he's got this big tash.
Yeah.
But he had all these different ideas of what he'd learned over there. So that's when the sports science started to come. So he was a pioneer. Everyone gives credit to Arsene Wenger, and rightly so, but we had nutritionists coming in all of a sudden, so we'd moved from the old Burnham Park to the Reebok. It was like overnight the club had changed. There was staff everywhere. There was like a cinema thing in one of the stands at the Reebok. We used to go like Pro Zone, so that was the first bit of like data analytics. You go and watching your clips back, never watched the game back ever, unless you chose to do it yourself. It was a bit like the old sensible soccer, do you remember, with the little dots going about? And he'd sit there and nail you because you were slightly out of position. And I learned discipline. I learned what it took to become a professional footballer from a professional side of it, how to live your life properly. I actually got my debut for the first team it was on a Friday night. They must have lost 1 or 2 players through injury, and they rang the landline at our house. And it was a Friday night. My dad answered it, and I'd stayed in because although I weren't named in the squad the next day, there was just something always in the back of my mind of doing things properly. So they'd rang. I found out after they'd rang 2 or 3 other players older than me, who weren't in for whatever reason. Don't mean to say they were in the nightclub, but they maybe gone where. Anyway, and I was in, and Phil Brown, the assistant manager, said, right, you're in the squad. And I ended up playing next day.
Wow.
So I was that for opportunity. If I'd nipped out to whatever, Chippy or cinema or whatever,
Well, being a strawberry blonde, you wouldn't have been chatting birds up. So
Sunbed.
Yeah, I might have been on the sunbed. I've been on that after training that afternoon.
He's on sunbed again, sorry, Sam.
We had one upstairs in them days. My sister had one, do you remember?
Yeah.
For the week.
My mum used to have one.
Yeah.
One where he just had a top on it, so
Just
you'd
a big
slide it
wooden-
over the bed. Yeah. Just go and have an hour of sleep on there.
So weird.
Woke
That,
up like Rodney off Only Fools.
my next door neighbour used to have one. She was weirdo. Blue light on all night. I think she slept under it.
I think that might be a different light, if I'm honest. Go on, mate, carry on.
Where are we? Bolton? No, so got a 4-game ban for that, for getting sent off. Because I think I've been sent off for the reserves early in the season, so they give me an extra game. So 4 games. And the game I came back in, we played Sheffield United at the Reebok. It was a Tuesday night. Neil Warnock was manager. They were a really physically strong team. It was tough. And I'm sat watching for an hour at the side thinking there's some naughty stuff going on the pitch, tackles. And
Was that your kind of game, though?
Is
that what you enjoyed?
I enjoyed the physical side of it. Yeah, I did. I mean, it's a different sport now when you watch it, innit?
Yeah.
I was competent. I could play off both feet. I was. When I signed for Dean Smith at Walsall, I was like, "What foot are you naturally?" I said, "Neither." Both as bad as each other. But I think I could play off both feet. I was never that quick. I say I broke my leg at 19. So, this game I went on after an hour, and he put me on his centre midfield to go and
rat around,
mix it up because it was getting a little bit. We had Per Franson in there, Michael Johansson, some Paul Waters could have a scrap with the best of them. Some top players like Dean Holden.
Paul Waters, he ended up going up front.
He played centre back and up front.
Yeah, and he ended up scoring about.
Was good in Blackburn, played in the Premier League.
That's right, yeah.
Top player, very good for me. You know, you look to your senior players at that young age to kind of guide you, and it's weird this stuff because my cousin come over. So when my cousin lives out in America now, he's a young golfer, he's doing great. But he come over last week, he's 22 now, and he's with 2 of my sons, and they were in the kitchen, and they found the footage of this tackle against Sheffield United, which I've never seen before. This was in 2000.
Find anything now then.
I'd have took him to court now. So I went he took the Lee Sanford centre back for Sheffield United. Ball got cleared. He took it bad first touch as a centre back, chased after it, lunged in, and I knocked it past him on a counter attack, and he took me just below my knee. But it was quite horrifying actually. I'll be honest with you. Like he literally jumped 2-footed as they probably used to more back then, and he proper did me like I was out for about 16 months. And to be honest, that was the end of my career at going to. Yeah. So it was quite.
That's
tough to
break.
see that
There
video.
was a double break.
So
tib and fib.
Yeah, my tib and fib. So my tib was done. I think it was. Remember the deadline day back then used to be like last Thursday of March or something or whatever it was. So I'm in hospital, Beaumont Hospital. Been there for like 3 or 4 days. Big Sam got deadline day out of the way, and he come to see me. He lived around the corner. on Beaumont Road there in Bolton. I'll never forget this. He walked through the door and he had, you know, when you have like 4 cans of beer in like one of them plastic ring things. Carling it
The
was.
rings.
And he brought me 3 cans.
Did he?
And I've never asked him, like, I speak to him all the time. I spoke to him last week. Like, what happened to that 4th one? Did he have it on the way in? And he got him out of the fridge. It was just the way, he just wanted to come in. That was what he's like. He was a brilliant man manager. He just wanted to come in like, come on, son, you've been in here for a couple of days here, have a couple of cans. You know what I mean? And it was 19, 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Did you have a can with him?
I don't remember having a can with him, but I think I'd had a couple. I was on morphine, all kinds in there. It was brilliant. So I probably spent a week or so in there. And then you fight
It's
back.
a horrible situation at that age, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was just making my way. Like I say, I'd seen off a couple of senior players, and you're 20, 25 games in, you're going for the championship playoffs. We tailed off that season. And then pretty much the rest of the following season, I'm still trying to come back from the injury. It took me a long, long time. And I got back fit the very last game of the next season. So so I was out from March to... And the comeback game was the last game of the season against Sheffield United, funnily enough, and I scored a 94th minute equaliser.
Did you?
Which is surreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unreal. That's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah. And at that, it's weird at that age because...
There's already a lot of like coincidences, isn't there, in your kind of
maybe they all add up eventually. It's like dot to dot. You don't think at the time, do you? But maybe eventually they all... Well, they certainly give you some character and resilience, 100%,
don't they? Yeah.
How do you feel towards the lad now who snapped your leg?
Listen, I don't think... I'd probably knock him out whenever... No, I wouldn't, no. No, I'm joking. You make decisions in games. I don't think... He maybe did go in to do me, you can see, but I don't know. But it weren't personal to Dean Holden. He probably didn't know. He probably never heard of him as a young footballer, so...
And it's like, like in that split second, he wouldn't have done it to go, I'm going to snap him here.
No, he's chasing his bad touch.
Angry, and then just gone,
he's gone past me.
Yeah, I need to take him out and...
You know, the first thing I got told after the game, it was my youth team coach said you should have gone in and you should have seen it coming and then gone in the same, and then it would have been, let's see who comes out on top. Yeah. But you're young, just come on the pitch, do you know what I mean? It's chucking it down with rain. You're trying to get over being sent off 4 games ago and letting the team down and everything that's happened since.
Yeah, so you can't. That's in your head. If I go in here and get another red, that's me.
Do you know what I mean? Though? So
and as well, you've nicked it past him. Your first thought is to get past him and go.
Didn't happen too often, so I was
yeah.
But again, I spent a long time. I mean, my confidence was suffering really strongly because after that, I made the best of my career, but it was never what I felt it could have been.
Yeah.
And you go in like, if I wouldn't have got sent off in that Charlton Cup quarter-final at right back, I wouldn't have got a 4-game ban, I wouldn't have gone into centre midfield, I wouldn't have been there on that part of the pitch. But you can't, you burn your brains. Of course it is.
It's that sliding doors moment, yeah.
Of course it is. But after scoring that equaliser the following season, it was the last game of the season, and we'd already guaranteed the playoffs to get to the Premier League. And Sam being Sam, he's gone, well, I'll rest a few of the key players, I'll bring Dean back in, 1 or 2 of the younger players. So I'm scored last minute, I'm thinking, right, boom, I'm in the team now for the playoffs.
No.
I've been out for 15 months. Next morning, I was in Iceland, spending the summer season playing out there because we had...
Yes, in that Valur.
FC Valur, yeah. Reykjavik.
He sent you out there?
Went out there to spend the whole... So, obviously, they had the playoff campaign to come. I wasn't going to feature.
Yeah.
So, why spend time wasting? I'd spent over a year getting fit again.
So, go and get fit and play some games.
They play through the summer season. So, again, Ida and Goodney both used to play for that particular club, so there was a bit of a relationship. So I watched
How was that?
I watched the playoff final on my own in this tiny little restaurant in Reykjavik when it was at Cardiff when they were obviously redoing Wembley. Battered Preston, I think it might have been 4-0. Ricardo Gardner flying, Kev Nolan. Brilliant experience. Wow, amazing. Most
nice
amazing
place,
country. I've never been on the moon, but I always say it's like going on the moon. It's weird, it's just nothing. And then the owner of the club, it's really expensive. Wow. But the owner of the club out there owned the Blue Lagoon, which is it's all...
It's where you take your bird in it when you go to Iceland, and it's like a hot spring in all the ice.
It's a massive reservoir thing, but you don't pay for hot water in Iceland. It comes out of the ground hot.
Right.
I think you'd have to Google that.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's like minus 17 over there. You're absolutely freezing, but you're in this giant jacuzzi, which is it's a beautiful place. Absolutely amazing place. Come back for pre-season, went to Spain on tour again. In my mind, right, we're going to go and get in the team in the Premier League now, and played Leicester first game of the season away. Again, won. Went on a great one. Kev Nolan, Michael Ricketts. I was watching it on one of the 50-odd TVs in Dixon's in the Trafford Centre because I worked in the squad. So I think it's about October time. There's a couple of loan offers coming. I went to Oldham on loan.
Yeah.
Ended up spending the season there, and then that was me. Then I left that summer, went to Oldham for the next 3 years.
Where was Oldham then?
League One. So I dropped to division. Well, I dropped 2 from the Premier League, but I'd been playing in the Championship. So I needed to do it. I had a year left at Bolton, actually. Again, I didn't have an agent at the time. I had a year left. Again, not on great money, but we've gone to the Premier League, so you get a bit of an uplift. And then Big Sam said, "Listen, he's
Did Oldham have to pay for you then, or did they just
No,
release you from your contract?
They released me from my contract. But now speaking to you
Well,
before about
I get-
agency, now a year left, you'd probably go to the club, go to Bolton, wouldn't you? Say, right, give us a bit to leave. And
50% or something like
but
that.
I was happy to just leave on a free transfer and go and get my career. I weren't really thinking about
Yeah.
money or anything. I was still living at home with mum and dad. Just got with Danielle, but everything was. It was all about getting my career going at that point. I thought it was a good opportunity at Oldham to go there and
play
and do that. So.
Who was the manager at the time?
Andy Ritchie.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, Stitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened frequently for me. I'm not sure if this is irony, but quickly after managers signing me, they got the sack. So he was out the door pretty quick. We had 3 or 4 managers at Oldham in the space of a couple of years. Yeah.
So, what do you think of their demise?
Sad, innit?
It is, yeah.
It is.
I mean, obviously they're not as bad as we've talked before. Not as bad as what's happened to Bury and Macclesfield. I mean, that's how that can happen in modern world. You know, people willing to come in and save the club, but rules and regulation. I mean, it's terrible. But
it's like I get what you're saying in terms of the finances, but at least now, like the likes of like Bury, Macclesfield, they've started again, and they're actually, even though they're in lower divisions, they're winning. So they're coming again that.
They're not
feel factor back, aren't they? Like winning. But Oldham, they've gone down.
They're going to
and then they've really struggled in the National League as well.
They're going to become sustainable, aren't they? Like you said there, they're probably going to come back up eventually, like Fleetwood did, like Salford have done. Great stories. Oldham, I mean, they've had the takeover last year from Frank, which is a godsend, really. Local guy who's made a few quid.
That's right, yeah.
Character him.
Yeah. Apparently he's really good. They've got Mickey Mellon in now as a manager, so they're a club on the up. Right?
Yeah.
As I said, my boys. Academy there, so he goes to all the home games and sometimes the ball boys
and Mickey's a good manager as well.
Yeah, Mickey's. Well, was you at Fleetwood with him or not? Yeah. So he's done it at that level before, hasn't he? That National League sort of League 2 level before moving on up to League 1 with Shrewsbury. I think he was at.
It's a proper club though, isn't it? When we played them National League. You go to some grounds and it's like, they're all right, but you go to Oldham and I think there was 5,000 on or something. It was it's a bit like,
I think they spent $100,000 on the pitch.
Yeah.
The pitch was amazing.
I was just going to say that we were at the Youth Cup game a few weeks ago, and exactly that. Like behind the scenes, they've got a good thing going.
Yeah,
and that's important. They've kept the fans on board. Eventually, the fans have realised that there's now a good guy. They've had tough times off, a bit like Bolton, really, behind the scenes, ownership troubles, but like you say, maybe now they're in a place where they're moving forward. They need to get back up this year because when you leave the Football League, you get a 2-year. I don't know what the right word would be. They give you 2 years to keep they give you 2 years to keep your youth system going.
Yeah, they do.
That's right.
So if they don't get up this year, they're going to end up becoming like an education programme type thing. So Paul Murray's in there. He's a really good mate of mine who played with 20 odd years ago. He's running the academy there. So hopefully this year they can get back up, and because they were a proud Premier League club, weren't they?
100%. Yeah.
So
played a lot of games there. To be fair,
I think that was probably the club I played the most, 100-ish games. I think, weren't it? Captain there. Had a good time at Oldham. We got to the playoffs. Ian Dowie came in as manager, lost out to QPR to get up to the Championship. So that was a shame. But
is that where you played with Nicky?
No, Nick. Where did I play? I played with Nicky. You don't know where? Rochdale, I think I played with him.
Oh,
he went to Oldham after that, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah. I played with Nicky's brother actually. Nicky's brother, when I was at Bolton as a kid, was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Really good player. Yeah.
Proper strong Bolton accent.
Yeah.
I remember his brother.
Yeah, he was very good.
Right.
When you're younger, but again, you don't know, do you? At that age, you're trying to pick it. It's like I find this weird, you know. You like lads getting released. My lads have never been in a full academy. Not that I don't believe in the system. I think it can. Again, at 12, why would you ruin a player's confidence at 12? They give you a trial. And
so where did you go from there then? Peterborough.
I was 3.5 years at Oldham. Where did I go? Yeah, did I go to Peterborough? Yeah, I was out of contract. Went to Peterborough. Yeah, signed for Peterborough. Mark Wright, the old England Liverpool centre back.
He's meant to be mental as a person. So when he was manager of Chester, I heard some real stories about him. I don't know.
No, I always found him pretty.
Was there?
Pretty fair. I remember him coming training one day with his trainers on.
Maybe he had a meltdown after managing.
Maybe
it was after that.
Who caused that?
The training ground was a disgrace. It was mud and everything. And he come in, got out. He used to drive a Range Rover. So his coach Steve Bleo had said, if anyone's seen the Big Ron documentary with Big Ron Atkinson, it was the one before the Sunderland one. It was horrendous, funny. Bleo's the scouser on there, and Bleo would set the training right. He'd sit in his car with the heaters on, and wipers going, and just sit. And he'd come out, and he's still on his phone. He's joining in, and you're going, like, you can see how he's played for England. He must have been like late 40s or something. And
On
he's
his
joining
phone,
in
on his
straight.
phone,
Really
good
good.
training.
I swear, the ball comes to him, he's like, and you're going like,
Still on his phone playing.
Yeah, it's mad. John Sheridan was the same at Oldham, not on his phone. John Sheridan just like one knee, like you're going, wow, what would you have been like when you were fit, when you were in your pomp, like top players. But yeah, to Peterborough was tough because I'd gone from Oldham, which was really professional. Peterborough, Barry Fry, I spoke to Baz this morning. Brilliant, but it was run like a pub team. It was just the players they were bringing in.
Is it Barry Fry who does that interview? Have you seen it where he's trying to sign?
He's trying to
sign that player.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Great company. Yeah, great storyteller.
The lad's asking for loads of money. He's like, nah, I can't see you getting that. It's like well, not loads of money, but 950 something. Nah, I can't see it. And then he does all these deals for about half an hour. The lad agrees and he whacks his hammer like he's at an auction. He goes, sold to the fat bastard in the blue suit in his own office. You're like, what is going on?
He's a nutcase.
Hell of a character.
Nutcase.
Wow. He had his testimonial while I was there. Actually, Fergie brought the whole United squad down, Ronaldo, Giggs, and all. That was a brilliant. I'm stood there at right back. Did you play in
that game?
I played in the game. Stood there at right back. Ronaldo come on at half. So they changed the team at half time. So Van Nistelrooy and them had gone off. Rooney come on, and Ronaldo comes on, and he strolls over to the other side of the pitch. I'm like, and then just before kicking off the second half, he comes back over, and I'm having a panic up. If anyone's ever had a panic attack, it's not nice. And he takes his earring out and gives it to Albert, the kit man, and then disappears over there. And I was like, right, buzzing. So the only problem you got then, you're against Ryan Giggs. Well, I was reading Giggs' book at the time.
Yeah.
He was telling about all the hamstring issues he'd had right throughout his career, and how he only ever could get to like 85%. He could never. I did it once, so I don't know how he ever did Miami. I was never quick enough. But there's always that thing in the back of your mind when you extend.
Yeah,
it's going to pop. He picks the ball up on the edge of his own box, Ryan, and he's facing his own goal, and it gets tight to him, and he turns and he opens his legs, and and again, you're just going like, wow.
80%.
This is top.
80% as well.
80.
I'm like, it's probably 25, 26. Again, still trying to get my career going after the injury. I'm now playing games regularly. It was a good time, Peterborough, in the sense I went in goal one game against Chester, weirdly enough. Jonathan Walters was playing.
Oh, for Chester?
For Chester. He goes through one-on-one. I didn't know what, so I come out and like slide tackled him on the edge of the box with my goalie shirt on. So like
no hands,
unorthodox.
Just a slide tackle.
Didn't know what to do, and then he takes a shot, tips it wide.
How were you in there in the first place?
Goalkeeper got sent off. We didn't have a sub on the goalie sub on the bench, so I ended up going. I've got this massive goalie shirt on, big gloves like the fingertips are like that, and tips it round the post. He gives a goal kick, and I'm like going, no,
yeah, give me some credit. Yeah.
No, I realised how far keepers can kick a ball, so I've put this goal kick down and I ran up and levered it, and it's just like, you know, at school and it just
edge
gets
of the 18,
blows back over the goal, and I'm like, wow, it's. I had a good time at Peterborough because I was captain again. Learned a lot because I learned a lot about. I talk a lot when I've been going in a minute about coaching management, not particularly to any person. I saw so much poor practice.
Yeah,
I'd probably not seen at that point in my career.
Yeah.
So you pick up on a lot of things, and you know, if and when I go into coach, you know, which I weren't sure I was going to do at that point. I'm not sure I'd do it that way. I'm not sure I'd treat that person.
And
like
was you thinking that at the time?
I was sort of on the.
Because we spoke to a few managers, and you said like, how have you become a good manager? And it's always like, oh, I learned from him, I learned from this. Sometimes it's the flip side, isn't it? Where you, just like you said, fucking hell, I won't do it that way. And if I was a manager, I wouldn't do it that way. Yeah. So is that kind of what you was thinking?
Probably subconsciously at that point, yeah. And I got out after I weren't enjoying it. I got out after 18 months, and just after Darren McAntony coming on. In fact, you should get Darren on here. He'd be great value as well. Goes on Talk Sport quite a bit. I think he's got his own podcast.
I've heard of him.
I don't know what to call it, but he's great value as well.
Yeah.
I got out that January, went to Falkirk, so we played Hartlepool away. It was a Friday night. We stayed up there. The late Keith Alexander, bless him, was the manager for Peterborough. Knocked me door the night before the game, 9 o'clock. Said Falkirk have come in for you. We've accepted the bid. You can go and talk to them. And I was like, well, do you want me to go? Or I was like, well, yeah, we need. You know, they were struggling a bit.
Right.
That's when Darryl was just
put a bid in for you.
So you weren't a lot of money, but it was maybe 50 grand or something that they bid. Yeah. My wife's back in Peterborough, 8 months pregnant with our first child. New Year's Eve, by the way.
Oh.
And rings her and says,
New Year's Eve, you get a phone call?
New Year's Eve. So I'm on the bench next day at Hartlepool. He said, we don't need to come on in case you get injured and we lose the money.
Yeah.
I was happy with that. Sat on the bench. Never went back to Peterborough. I went from Hartlepool straight to Scotland.
Up to Falkirk.
Danielle packed up the house with my brother, and me and my brother married to 2 sisters.
All right.
Weird, isn't it?
That is a bit weird.
They're not our sisters, but yeah, me and my brother. So my wife's sister is married to my brother.
So Danielle's sister is married to your brother.
My brother Matt, yeah.
What a night that was.
So they would.
What a spin.
We got married. Remember them? We got married first, by the way. So, But they were down in Peterborough New Year's Eve because Danielle was obviously heavily pregnant.
Yeah,
and that,
yeah.
So they all, to be fair to them, they helped to pack up and we got a company to come in and then she moved up to... So didn't have any real say in the matter and then 4 weeks later gave birth up in Scotland. So it's all a bit of a whirlwind.
Flipping heck.
But it was a good move that because that was a Scottish Premier League, Falkirk at the time. So,
Yeah.
you know, you go and
Whereabouts
play...
is... I can't picture where Falkirk is.
Pretty central.
Right, okay.
Pretty central in Scotland. So we
What,
live...
further up than Edinburgh and...
So between Glasgow and Edinburgh, probably
Right, okay.
slightly north, if
Yeah.
anyone's going to look at this and come for me,
And
but
have a
it's
look.
slightly between. So we live just outside of Glasgow, so we're in between.
Ah.
Um,
Well, she's not
Phenomenal.
like up in
No,
Shetlands
not up-
then,
no.
are you? So you're all right.
4 hours, 3.5 hours from Manchester, 4 hours.
All
from-
right.
Phenomenal experience, like,
Yeah.
because again, you're going back to a club which was run really well. Good manager, John Hughes, suits to games, like professional. You're on TV every other week because you're playing Celtic, Rangers, and Dundee United, Aberdeen, Hearts. They're all-
Yeah,
You
some
ever
of
beat
them
any of them?
games.
It's quite a big fish. You're quite a big fish up there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You go from a small pond down here at a League One level, and you go back up there, and it's like 4 divisions in one because you're playing Inverness away one week, and there might be 1,200 fans on, and then you go into Ibrox or Celtic Park.
Yeah.
It's a bit surreal in that way, but again, got my career going again up there. Do you remember Setanta? Setanta was the
Setanta Sport,
everyone
yeah.
had the boxes.
Yeah.
My old man had one of them, and all the family around play Celtic, and
I know Setanta. I was on there quite a few times. They used
why
to
it
do
went
the
bust.
FA Cup, didn't they? And the...
paying your fee, wasn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, similar sort of thing. Playing against Celtic, knocked the ball past Big Steve McManus. This time he didn't mean to do it. He caught me accidentally, but same leg, boom, snapped. So again, another 15
I
months
didn't
or
know
so.
you broke it twice.
3 times I did it.
How
I
many?
did it again at Walsall later on. 3 times. That one was in training, to be fair. So
You
you
need to
wouldn't,
drink more milk.
you
Have
wouldn't
you had that
expect,
leg checked? All right.
you wouldn't
A
expect
real
to get a
leg?
free kick 'cause it was in training. But the other 2 in a game, I didn't get a free kick for either of them.
Really?
So if you're telling me referees are poor nowadays with VAR, you should
Yeah,
have seen
right,
it back
yeah.
then.
Everyone's saying, bring back the old refs out
So
there.
did you get a chance to play against... How many games did you play for Falkirk?
50, 60 odd games.
Oh,
maybe.
right. Oh, yes.
I was up there about a year. Played the first year up there, January to January, and then I broke.
Who were the
leg in
winners of the
January.
league then? Rangers or Celtic? It'd been Rangers back then, wasn't it?
I think it was Rangers. Yeah, they beat us in the Scottish Cup final.
Yeah.
So I came back from that injury again. I was out for quite a period of time. I got back, and then we played the Scottish Cup final against Rangers at Hamden.
What year? Like Gaza weren't up there then, were
No, not that old, mate. It was
they?
2000.
See my football knowledge then.
I think it was 2009. This. I played the week before. We played
Oh,
Motherwell
no, it
away.
was a bit before. Yeah, it was a bit before that.
I scored this. I don't say this too often, but I scored this absolute worldie against Motherwell. It come to me on my left foot, edge of the box.
Yeah, I seen
and
it.
I took my top off and I've got this skinhead and I'm like, cause I've been in the gym for 15 months.
Yeah.
Because I brought from my leg.
Ripped.
And the night before the game, I had this right big wig, proper long do it was. And I wanted to trim it up because I was playing next day. And so Missy says, just cut it off because I can't shave it. It's like proper long this. So she
Yeah.
said, just give it a bit of a trim. I'll go and find the clippers and I'll thing it for you. I must have cut it that short. So I ended up having to,
Oh
fully-
no, skinned it.
so which is why I'm like, I look like this lunatic. I'm stood there like my shirt off. I've just scored this pumped. 6 days later, get dropped for the Scottish Cup final, an hour and a half before kick-off.
Why?
Not even on the bench, by the way. I don't know. I never asked him. He was tough like Yogi. Again, spoke to him loads since. Been brilliant for me as a coach manager, like experience. So you don't hold it against him. He's made a decision. He wanted to someone else. You always think it's personal to you as a player, don't you?
Yeah,
You two must have experienced that. You always think it's personal when you go into the other side. And I'm just trying to win a game of football as a manager to stay in a job. It's not like, oh, I don't like him, I'm going to play someone else. Even if you don't like him, if you think they're going to do a job, you play him.
Yeah. Thing is, like, John's been dropped a lot, so I think it could be personal.
No, I took it personal once and I never should have. And I regret it. But
Where
I
was
took
that?
it very personal, didn't I?
I don't know, was
At
it?
Salford.
I don't know.
Yeah, really.
I can't remember you playing.
Really, it was the first time I've ever been told no for about 8 years. So, yeah, I lost my head. It
Who
weren't
dropped you?
nice.
Jono?
John and Byrne got rid of me, didn't they?
Oh,
Careful what
got
you
rid of
say
you.
now.
I thought meant just drop you for a game.
Oh, no, they fully got rid of me.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
obviously
fully
got over
rid
it.
of
He
you,
took
yeah.
you back now,
I
eh?
was saying to him the other day, he was like, we'd won another game, and he was saying to the other lads, like, I'll look after you, blah, blah, blah. And I went, he's talking shit. He used to...
He said that to me before he
Yeah, I
let
said-
me go.
And then they made me, they got everyone food. Everyone was on like nice, I don't know, healthy food, like steak, chicken, all that. They made me go and get a meal deal from Co-op and eat it in front of all lads.
What, at Ratcliffe?
Yeah, at Salford
At
for a
Salford.
week.
Did that?
So I was on like ham butties in front of all lads and a bag of
Prawn
crisps.
cocktail crisps.
And I was like, what is going on here? Like my head was going. And there was like, everyone queues up for the heart rate monitors. Got to me, bounced in, was like, heart rate monitors, like, nah, we're not asked about your heart rate, mate. Just go out and train. It was like, right, no worries. So
He didn't apologise for that, has it? Oh, you kind of did.
he
didn't
does now. He goes under now, and I say he hates it.
Bad
but,
times, didn't it?
Yeah, but you got to do it, haven't you? Like you say, if you
As a manager, but
it's not personal, is it?
No, I mean you try. To be honest with you, I've not.
that must have been gutting though. That like you scored a worldie week before and then cup final.
Yeah, and
and you
2
dropped.
bus loads on the way up. I didn't have that many mates. I think my mates had recruited mates just because it was a weekend in Glasgow. But 2 bus loads on the way up. So 1:30, 20 to 2. I'm like, I'm not. So they probably, if it weren't in Glasgow, they'd have turned around, wouldn't they? Gretna Green. But the thing is, we booked an hotel. We're gonna have a mad weekend. So, but you know what? Again, it teaches you. Just content. I did at some point like think, is there any chance? Like, come on, give me a break. But
yeah. Did you not think though?
it's just part of your journey. It's made me a better coach and manager because you go through the.
I
you
was
go on
going
the
to
pro
say,
license.
like, if you had to do that to a player, surely you going through that, you'd pull that player,
Yeah, of course you
pull
would.
that player on a Friday or like day before.
Because ultimately you realise you can't put your boots on anymore. Your future, your family's future is in these lads' hands to go and perform on a pitch.
Yeah.
And why you go out and upset them? Why you see managers going after players publicly, and unless they want rid of them, unless there's a reason.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, I wish, I was talking about Ryan Giggs before, we're from the same area, same school, he's a bit 3 or 4 years older than me, with ambassadors for our local team, the Deans, funnily enough, Deans, nothing to do with me, give trophies out. And he had this career that I could have only dreamt of, but actually when I look back on my career, I'm proud that I got 400 games, whatever it was, and played till I was 35, and despite the tough times. But at the same time, I was just about to say, I was at Oldham, 3.5 year contract at Oldham. The old owner tried to liquidate the club. PFA are coming into you like 2 days away from losing
Everything.
You've obviously got mortgage and
Yeah.
League One, and people don't realise the wages aren't great, are they, at that level?
No.
Everyone thinks football, they're on loads, wives on TV. It's not the case.
No.
So it teaches you these things that you can't learn on a pro licence or on any course. They do these mock things where they'll go, right, pretend to drop a player, and it gets you out of your comfort zone on your coaching badge. But there's nothing like, for me, going through something, to experience it, to really feel it, so you can empathise later down the line. Throughout your management career, everyone's got their own story, haven't they? There's a group of players in front of you, they're all going through something, and it's not always serious. It don't have to always be a family member bereavement or anything like that, but I'm bringing it down a bit here, I'm still having a joke in a minute. But it might be that the girlfriend's left and the dog's died. It doesn't matter, does it? They're just having a bad day. It might not be anything. It just allows you, I think, that ability to empathise. So would never have chose that career from being that young kid at 14. I would have wanted much more.
Yeah.
At the same time, make the most of what you've got.
And
then
also as well,
use
that career and disappointments and that empathy that you've got now has obviously helped you becoming a better manager. If you wouldn't have gone through all that, and it might have been plain sailing, you might never have got into management, or you might have done it but not had the same impact on the players.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you hadn't been through what you'd been through.
That's not me being, it can sound a bit churlish or patronising. Like, I had a professional career. I'm so grateful. I've been out of the game 4 months in 28 years since I left school.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been out of the game as a player, coach. So it's given me everything.
Yeah.
As I say, with a kid that didn't have loads of raw talent, I think I've been very lucky.
You're out of the game now, aren't you?
I'm out of the game at the moment, which is why I'm sat here with you.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's probably not an easy answer, that. It's really tough because I'm obsessed with being involved in football. I was as a player.
You're obsessed with learning as well, though, I've gathered.
Yeah. Well, you never... we're probably old when you come across people who walk in and you think the smartest ass in the room. There's no quicker way to failure, is there?
Hey, no, I always say, like, if you're a manager of anything, whether it's a football team or a company or something like that, as a manager, you should be the least smartest in the room. You should surround yourself with people who you can learn from, who are better than you, and that's... So, like, you being out of the game now, I was watching videos and you were saying that you were going to go and visit this person and watch how they train and learn little things from them. And I quite like that. I quite liked how you weren't just sitting back, relaxing and waiting for someone to knock on your door. You was thinking, right, okay, well, let's go and learn from him. Like, how does he train? How does he treat the players? Like, what's his philosophy of this? And
a couple of reasons. You're trying to get out the house at times. Yeah. No, I enjoyed, like, today, school run this morning, brilliant. Last week I took the kids to they did the Harvey's Festival at church for school, and I've never done anything like that really. I've done the odd parents' evening, but Daniel's done it all. I've always been wherever doing my football, and so I'm really enjoying all that. Our youngest is 5, Chase, and I've missed a big chunk of his. I was in Bristol City for 4 years, obviously Stoke and recently Charlton, so I'm really enjoying that. remember seeing like Neil Warnock on the box. He used to say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be enjoy time," and you kind of can't really. Again, you can't feel it till you've had it. So I make the most of it. So great time tomorrow. Drop my daughter at dancing. Take my lad plays for Salford Boys. Drop him off. My other boys playing for Oldham. So I'll try and you just full time taxiing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but you're getting a bit of all the kids, and you're trying to. Bomby night tomorrow night. I'll take them to a local. Whatever, again, never probably been out of Ufo because you're always travelling home from an away game, stuff like that.
It's good, but you want to get back in.
But you can see there's a book coming, can't you? But the other side to it is, I was obsessed with being a player, but going into management, certainly management and coaching, I enjoy it more because because of the problems I had with my injuries, I never felt I could. I always thought if I get isolated 1v1 against someone, I'm struggling. Yeah. So I was always a good communicator on the pitch because I was always trying to keep people close to me because I didn't get. So you got to make the best of your frailties, aren't you? I suppose. That's why I enjoy management coaching more because I don't believe there's anything that could stop me getting to the very best I could be. Yeah. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
That, so there's nothing to hold you back as a manager, whereas a player you had that niggly injury and things like that always hold you.
So an open-mindedness, and again, Big Sam said it when he came into Bolton. Like he always wanted to, what you said, the thickest guy in the room, which you've got to portray a certain amount of confidence when you're the leader or whatever you gaffer manager, whatever you want to call it, because people look to you. And you certainly have to do that. You've lost the game, you have to come in, right, boom, here's the plan, let's stick to it. But at the same time, if you walked into one of my staff meetings every morning, our staff meetings, physio, sports science, S&C, assistant managers, goalie, you landed off the moon, you'd have no idea what the hierarchy was because these are experts in their field. Yeah. And I trust them and I have to make the final call. And it's not shying away from the big decision. You know, releasing 6 players this summer at Charlton, leaving players out of a tick, it's tough, man. Yeah. It's horrible. Because again, when you have to do it, but sometimes it's for their betterment of their career. You're being honest with them, going, listen, you're not gonna probably play much here. Why don't you go and play there and get your career and stick 2 fingers up to me further down the line? I'd love nothing more. Yeah. So you're always trying to. What I'm coming around to, I suppose, guys, is like at times through my career there wasn't a great deal of transparency and honesty from certain people within the game. I think players want honesty, but I think there's a way of delivering it.
That's kind of what we were saying before. Like if you're being dropped before that cup final, you can handle it if somebody tells you. Yeah. It's the not knowing and then getting a last minute phone call and all of a sudden it's then emphasised more because like you said, you've got 2 coaches of mates coming up, you've got this expectation of yourself being on the bench or playing or starting or however, and all of a sudden you walk in the dressing room, it's up on the board, you're not even in the squad. Yeah. It kills you as a player.
It does, but at the same time it's managers managing different ways. You know what I mean? So I think more and more these days, I've got young kids myself. I'm fascinated about the psychology side with young people, how they learn different to what it was like. Used to come in, and it was like, we're playing this way. This is what you're doing. And nowadays, you've got to give them the why. They need to know the why. Yeah, yeah. And you've probably known. I've said this, my voice is it's a little bit boring at times. I'll be honest. So I do a lot of 2-way stuff. So I'm taking a team meeting. I want the players to be interacting. Yeah. And that's what I saw from at the end of my career. I went to Walsall with Dean Smith. And he showed me something, a way I'd never seen before, away from that ruling of fear and that sort of demanding. It was like, what do you think? So you come in at half time, he'd be like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because you feel it on the pitch.
That's the first time you'd ever had that?
First time I've ever seen it. Right. You feel it differently on the pitch, don't you?
What do you do? The first time, you don't know whether to answer or not, though, do you? You're like,
quickly, we had a lot of young players, good ones, and I was a senior, he brought me into and I quickly realised that was his way of doing it. It was more of an education. Yes, they were trying to win, but they were trying to develop players, and again, you need to understand how people learn. There was one player, I won't name him, you'd be watching a video clip with him and you'd be talking over it like you do as a coach, and he was struggling to watch it and take the information in at the same time, and he was honest enough to say that, which means, I think when you can be vulnerable enough yourself, then players are more chance of them being more open to you. Yeah. You know, other than just everyone's going, right, do you understand what I mean? And going, yeah, and then you leave.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put the
players.
You won't, would you?
No. Players switch off as well, though. Whereas if you engage them and you get them to think, and they'll take it in more as well because they're actually like they're not just sat there watching a video, let it just run through.
And these are the things I've learned previously and still doing at the moment, which is what you said about going out and seeing people. Because how do you know if a player's understood what you've said in a team meeting? Like, you've planned this meeting. It's not about me taking this brilliant meeting. It's about them coming out the other end and actually understanding what we want from them, isn't it? Yeah. How do you know that unless you ask them a question? How are they going to answer unless they feel safe and vulnerable enough to give? I know that sounds a bit of a strange statement, but the first thing I did at Charlton when I went in, flip chart, I wanted to make it a safe place, which people will be like, it's a football club, mate, you know about. But where you can be comfortable enough. Because my whole career as a young player, I was so what's the right word? I was covered in acne. I was like trying to play up to what a footballer should, how he should behave and all that. And I was lost. I was trying to be something I wasn't. And I think the world's changed.
Yeah, yeah.
And you actually celebrate people that are different.
Yeah.
And when people can come in and actually knock your door and go, Gaffer, I've got this problem at home, it's like, wow.
I think it's hard to be
that's
vulnerable
amazing.
as a footballer.
I think it is if you're in an environment that doesn't. If you come in as, I keep calling it the leader, the Gaffer, forgive me, but when you're the manager or whatever.
Yeah.
If you can sort of set that environment, you start to see it slowly but surely. Staff members are coming. There's a player that was out of the team that came and knocked me door. He'd been out of the team for 2 months. Had told me this really sort of personal story about it, and you're like, I'm not saying everybody would do that, and they don't need to, but I understood him a lot more then. Because I'd come in for training some days. What do I just see what I see on the training pitch mainly, and around the gym, and you get eyes on him in the canteen, and he don't look himself. What's going on? He's not training well. Do we need to get rid of him? I don't think they wake up and think, right, I'm going to be going being an arsehole.
No.
I think there's a reason people behave like they do, and it's more often than not, you've got to try and get to what it is.
Well, everyone's human, aren't they? Sometimes you forget that. And like you said before, like you touched on it, sometimes you just got personal problems at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you even if it's just like your grandma's ill or, just anything that's taking that focus off your football and you're worrying about it, it affects everything.
Yeah.
It affects everyone in a day-to-day job, so why shouldn't it affect a footballer in his training or his playing?
Spot on. And one of some great bits of advice, but you look back and you think, like, I remember, but when I became a coach, so I'd been a player, I never got to the end of the season and like retired and like got my boots away, went on holiday, and then right now I'm going to coach. And I'd done my badges, but it was middle of the season. I was a player, 35-year-old old player. Tuesday, Thursday morning, I'm a young coach at the same age.
So is this after? So obviously, like you had the break in Scotland, you come back and you come and played.
Yeah.
But then you brought your leg in training, didn't you?
Yeah, so I come back from Scotland 2009, played for Shrewsbury for a couple of years in League One under Paul Simpson. That was excellent. And then, where did I go after that? I can't remember. I went to Rotherham on loan. Deadline day for Shrewsbury it was. Graham Turner had come in as manager and we didn't really see eye to eye, and it was January, deadline day. And I realised if you can cancel your contract before the midnight deadline day, you can then sign for anyone anytime, can't you? Because you've got your freedom to do that. And I'd played with John Sheridan. I'd cleaned John Sheridan's boots when I was at Bolton. Then I'd played with him at Oldham. Yeah. And I messaged him in the afternoon and said that Shrewsbury are looking to like not pay me up, but like settle my contract to where we're both happy and I can move on. Do you know anyone they were in the same division? They were top at Chesterfield. We were 12th or something at Shrewsbury. And I knew Shez well enough for him to go, you know what, I spoke to such and such at Stockport or whatever. They're looking for her. Because they didn't have an agent. Again, I've never been shy in picking the phone up. And he went, you know what, we'll take you. I was like, so I went back in the room, back into the manager, and we spent about 4 and 5 hours. Like, he'd go, right, here's the settlement. I'd go, at that point, I genuinely had nothing. I was walking into, like, being a stay-at-home dad again. Yeah. I had nothing. I said, I need a bit more than they were going to save on national insurance. Right, I'll take it back up to the chairman Roland upstairs in his office, come back down. I was like, Dean, we got a minute? No. And then at this point, I knew Shez.
That's my job now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That is what I do.
So much work I didn't need to do. And eventually we got to a point where they were happy, I was happy, great. I walked out of there, walked into the tabletop in Chesterfield next day in January.
So you was putting it on saying, I've got to go after
up until about 4 o'clock, I had nothing. And then once I spoke to Shez, we got the deal done about an hour later. So probably the last bit of negotiating, which was probably over a little bit more money and whatever, that was the only time I was comfortable enough to know. Yeah. Up until then, I was being genuine. Graham Turner said, you should be a poker player. I was like, I've got this. I've realised. Someone come up to you at a party, like Danielle would be like, what's up with you? I'm like,
I'm
best
buzzing.
night I've ever had.
Yeah. Tell your face.
So I'm born with it. But I think it's a blessing in terms of management because players have said to me, like, we're not sure if you're joking or if you're like going to come and punch me. Well, I'm never going to. I'm a lover now fighter, do you know what I mean? But
it's good to know that, though.
You have to put it on. Yeah. So I went into Chesterfield in January. We won the league that year. So Jack Lester, brilliant team. So a team, I weren't enjoying it. I'd been out on loan to a team.
Did you come in and play?
I went in and got in the team. I think someone got injured or just before I signed. Went in, played every game.
Dreams.
Won the league. It was brilliant. One of the best times in my career for 6 months.
Yeah.
Again, just through mad. John, do you know anyone? I mean, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, sliding doors, you said before. So, we're getting towards. I don't know what happened. I went to Rochdale, I think, for a year or two after that, and then Walsall. So I'm 33. This is the summer of 2012 now. obviously we'd had the tragedy with losing our daughter Cece. We'd been out to Lanzarote. We'd like 2 weeks later, I didn't have a club. I was released from Rochdale, no agent, never going to jump to the top of any manager's list really. So I realised I weren't good enough for the Premier League at this point. So I literally rang the PFA and I got the number from. I went through BBC Sport and I got the Championship table, top to bottom, League One, League Two, and I got the manager's number for every single team. So 72 numbers, and I rang them. About 3 or 4 answered, came back. Dean Smith was at Walsall at the time before he moved to Brentford, Aston Villa, and whatever else. And he's the only one that gave me an opportunity. He took me in. He sort of typical question when you meet a manager. Him and his assistant Rich were there, and they were like, "Right, so what's your family situation?" It had not become public at this point what had happened 2 weeks ago on holiday with CC. So he's like, so the two of them are sat there in tears. Obviously, it was quite a traumatic thing.
Do you mind me asking what happened?
No, we jumped ahead, Anna. So we went to. So me and Danielle, we've been together since we were kids. We got married. We'd had 3 kids under 4. So we had the first 2 born up in Scotland, Joey and Ellis, and then we had Cece. So we went on holiday with Matt and Jodie, their 2 kids. And it took about 12 hours to get to Lanzarote. Manchester Airport was delayed and whatever. Gets there really late, puts the kids down. Next morning, 7 a.m, let's get to the beach. And then Cece woke up and she just weren't herself. She had a bit of a red face, her lip was a little bit blue, and she was making a bit of a funny murmur, but she stood in a cot like babies do, with a little drinks bottle. And so me and Daniel said, right, we'll whip her. The doctor's was about, weirdly enough, about 100 yards down the road. So we'll whip her to the doctor's. You get the kids ready for the beach. We'll come back. So we took her to the doctor's. Again, sat on our lap in the taxi, like on the way down, drinking a drink. There was a woman in front of us. There was no emergency at this point. There was a woman in front of us, so we waited for her to go and said, "Well, can we just get?" So I took her to this room. This doctor come in. He shined a light or something into her eye, and it just became like something out of a horror movie, like out of Casualty. Like this alarm went off, and doctors and nurses were coming from every and they whisked her away, and she died in an hour and a half.
Oh my God!
She was dead in an hour and a half. She died of a rare form of meningitis, which they didn't immunise with babies back then. They do now. And everybody says, you know, like the meningitis, you know, like when you have a bruise and you roll the glass.
Or
no,
rash.
you don't do the glass. Yeah, the rash. Sorry.
Yeah.
There was nothing physical, nothing at all, and obviously very, very like surreal, traumatic. And
yeah, that was crazy.
But we found it.
How long ago was that?
2012. So, I mean,
11 years
it's a
ago.
tough subject, isn't it? But you know what?
It is, yeah.
I don't enjoy talking about it, but it's nice to keep CC's memory alive. So when people say, how many kids you got? We say, well, we've had 5, we've got 4. And it's a little bit like, it's a conversation wrecker, obviously. We can imagine going for the rest.
People are scared to ask.
Of course, yeah. You can imagine going for the rest of your life going, oh, we've got 4 kids, and then you never ever talk about it.
No.
Why would you forget about her? Bless her, she was a beautiful little girl, 17 months old.
So you had to go and do all this work with no club, knowing what had just happened 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so we ended up spending the whole 2 weeks in Lanzarote. We ended up coming home on the flight that we should have come home on because we realised loads of obviously logistical stuff to do, and we weren't leaving CC over there on our own.
No.
As daft as that might sound.
No, yeah.
So eventually we all came home. My mum and dad met her at the hospital, and obviously really traumatic, tough times. But I come back and I didn't have a club, and I was earning. I've been earning, I don't know, 700-800 quid a week or something. We didn't have a pot to piss in really. We had Danielle had come away from TV presenting to obviously be at home, stay at home mum. I was trying to find my way as much as I could every year, nicking a year at Rochdale on 900 quid, and you know. So Dean Smith gave me an opportunity.
Because you touched on it before, like when you are playing at that level, even though you're a footballer, it doesn't set you up for life, does it?
No.
It basically covers the bills, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it does not.
Yeah, it's a decent job. Well, in terms of pay, it's a decent job. It's a brilliant job because you're a
love it.
footballer.
Yeah.
But in terms of pay, like I say, it doesn't. You don't have a savings account. So when you finish, when you're playing at that level. So as soon as you're out of work for a few months, you're in it, aren't you? Like
Yeah,
you're
you
in
are.
it deep, thinking
For sure.
Now I can't struggling here.
Yeah. So I signed to Dean. Dean said to me, he said, I'm really worried about your mindset because this was in the summer. This was, like I say, it's only 2 weeks after what had happened. And we were travelling from Manchester to Walsall near Birmingham, an hour and a half a day, car school. And he's like, I'm a bit worried about your mindset getting the winter time. And fair play, like, honest. Most of them just said, you're a bit too old, or some of them ducked it probably. He was so honest and I said, have you made your decision? He said, no. So
Is this when you had the shit white Citroen Saxo?
No, I'd had that before that.
Oh, right.
I had a red Vauxhall Astra at this point. I'd bought off my uncle for 600 quid. And it had a caricature, one of them stickers on the back windscreen
Oh, yeah.
of a Man United player with number 7. So it was either, I don't know, Georgie Best or Robbo
Cantona,
or someone.
right, yeah.
Doing a urinating on a Man City player on the floor.
I've seen it, yeah.
Which I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't be driving about in this. So, but that was where we were at. We broke down on the M6 on the way down. I was doing a thing. You know, Andy Mitten, he just works for. Andy Mitten's a big. He founded United. We stand the big fanzine at Old Trafford.
Okay.
You know, he's a big broadcaster, reporter, and whatever. Obviously, not big enough that you know him, but he's doing really well for himself. And he come and did a piece for us for 442. What like he loves stuff like that, like young. Lower league footballers doing a car school and that.
Yeah.
So we broke down on Sandbach services on the way through in the anyway. No, so I just said to Dean, I said, right, well, I'll tell you what, here's what I'm prepared to do. And weirdly enough, Daniel had been to the doctors to get some antidepressants short term.
Yeah.
And you have to fill out this form. And it's like a box ticking exercise with numbers. So do you get out of bed? Yes. Right, that's one. Right. And she didn't qualify for counselling because we had 2 kids. 2 other kids, and well, yeah, we get out of bed because we have to. By the way, if they weren't here, you know, who knows what might have happened? Seriously, but so we threw ourselves into the other side of it, and luckily, I mean, I'd never talk about going deep, man, aren't we? I never talk about antidepressants like short term. I can imagine they're amazing for people, but we had like 50 years of our life to live, and they weren't ever going to get us through that. So we went into like counselling, meditation.
Yeah, because you can't rely on taking a tablet every day.
We needed something more.
Yeah.
Wim Hof saved me.
Oh, really? The breathing techniques?
I still need to meet him. Like he's literally been the angel from heaven that saved us.
Really?
I was in there this morning, 12 and a half minutes.
What, the ice bath?
You do it every morning?
Nah, I can't.
Yeah, me and my missus
Kids are doing it and everything.
Me and my missus got into it.
You know what? When I started it, you're doing like... My sister's running a marathon at the minute. She's raising money for... My mum died 4 years ago. She's doing brilliant. But she texted me last night. I was in the cold shower for 15 seconds because that's all you can do when you get in a cold... It's like... But then the more you do it, it's weird how your brain, your body can adapt. Anything's possible, and I mean he's got his own reasons for doing it, which is a brilliant documentary if anybody wants to go online and have a look. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
There's a point. You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is.
30 seconds.
If you had a purpose strong enough to do it, so when I was doing so that summer I signed for Walsall pre-season training. How hard's pre-season training?
Yeah.
But there was obviously something inside of me. It was just like I just was on a mission now. Like I need to stay in work. I need to keep earning money. That's the last, you know. And I probably had a really good start to the season because I was like a maniac. But when I'm running in pre-season and you're just giving up, you're done, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's something like on your shoulder going, yeah, but what happens if someone hands your mum hostage or like just some mad stuff that goes through your head? And you're like,
that is mad.
But you're like, no, you're right. You find a way.
Yeah.
You would. So if you get in an ice bath now, in fact, you should do this in your next podcast. Get him in an ice bath. If you had a strong enough purpose, I'm not trying to be smart, but I do believe if you've got a strong enough purpose to do anything, you will find a way.
100%.
Because your brain at some point goes, right, I'm going to give in here, but there's something that overcomes it.
Well, I'll tell, like, I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast when I had to retire because I obviously got a blood disease at 24.
Oh,
didn't play for 3.5 years. There were points where I was kind of giving up because like I was having tests for like leukemia and HIV and everything. I was in a bad way, and I couldn't. For like 13 weeks, I was in hospital. I lost the feeling of my whole right leg. I had a thing called drop toe, where you, like your big toe just drops, and I couldn't. Mate, it was just horrendous. I know it was just horrendous, but I was in a bad way, and the only thing I wanted to do was run. I just wanted to be able to be able to run, and I know it sounds weird, like. When there's nothing wrong with you, the last thing you want to do is run. You're like, fuck off, gaffer, I can't be arsed. But then when I came back, I've just been to Turkey for a week, and every day I got up and went for a run, 20 minutes in the gym afterwards, and I just did it. And someone said to me, like, why do you do that? And I went, just because I can, like for my own mental thing. And when I came back after that blood disease, I loved pre-season. I loved it because someone was paying me to be fit and run. And like you said, it's something like a lot of people won't have that. You know that
you appreciated it, didn't you?
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe one that I was able to run again and be super fit, but two that someone were paying me to do it. And I used to laugh during pre-season. I like lads, and I'd be like, "Come on, lads, fucking money in the bank, this, come on." And people be like, "Shut up, Gaz." And I'm like, But
You busy bastard.
no, but it's like he says though, if you've got some purpose,
Yeah.
like whether it's staying in a cold bath, whether it's running in pre-season, whether it's some kind of purpose, you'll get through anything. And it, like I say, it's having that mindset, and sometimes you have to go through them shit times in life to appreciate the stuff you, even if it's as simple as just being able to run.
Yeah.
And you're right there about the mindset thing.
It's obviously a really tough subject for people to talk about. When you speak about it, people get upset, but I don't believe in brushing it under the carpet because it's not going anywhere. I mean, again, a bit of advice. My old man was like, "You need to be the man of the family now, son," and he was absolutely right because my wife was crumbling. But so was I. Yeah. And there would have been a nervous breakdown down the road if I'd have kept it in. So I needed to go through my own, but keep her going at the same time. And that's what we found with the groups we went to, other parents who'd lost kids, and they were like, "Why'd you keep going there?" It's like parents from Hillsborough victims, and like, remember Viola Beach, the band?
Yeah.
One of the parents from there was there, and car crash and all these horrendous stories. But there's something being in a room with someone that's been through not the same story, but
Well, it's a shared experience.
it is, isn't it? And there's like this, you feel a bit safe and a bit like normal.
Yeah, and it also as well, it allows you to be able to feel the things that you're feeling, because you think, well, it's normal that I'm feeling like this because they've been through that and they feel it. So
you change so much. That's when I started to get into psychology and study about. I'm not a brain scientist. I barely got my GCSEs, but I started becoming fascinated about why I've changed as a person so much, and the amygdala and how it sets people up. So it's no doubt made me a better coach and manager. But we eventually just found like it's a story of tragedy, but it's a story of hope because the stats are against you. You're going to divorce in 2 years. That's what Google tells you. 88% of marriages.
Yeah. People who lose children.
It's too much to go. One or more is going to become addicted to something, and we found a way. And by the way, it's been tough, and we've come COVID at the end of COVID. It's tough, really tough. But we're hoping. We've not got a huge profile, but footballer, manager, Danielle's doing Talk TV now and some bits, and Jeremy Vine, and like we're hoping to use that platform to say you can get through this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a story. And when you can become grateful for what you've got, not what you've lost. You spent so long. I said it before, didn't I? I looked up like when I kept breaking my leg, and when I broke it the second time for Falkirk, just been called into the Northern Ireland squad through me. Again, realised England was probably not going to come for me, so I jumped on through my grandparents from Oldham. When I broke it for Bolton, it was 4 days before the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Yeah. So I broke my leg, but it was before playing at Wembley. And then I broke my leg again, and it was just before getting the knock. So you're kind of going like, any chance?
Come on, give me something.
And then, so it's a real sorry tale, isn't it, through the career? Yeah. But I was a professional footballer. We've got 4 kids. We've had CC for like, it's a story. When you can become grateful, genuinely.
Yeah.
And it's a tough place to get to. It just gives you this superpower where you just think, well, there's nothing stopping us now.
I can get through anything.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just value being around. That's why I love stuff like this. Talking about football and stuff, and people, like-minded people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because after COVID, the country's on its ass.
But it's got to come. Like I say, like you've got to come to a point where you say, right, okay, well, I can try and use this to help other people and help my family and move on. So when you was coming to the end, then, so like how quickly? I think you said before, within like 2 days. How did that transition from player on the Tuesday to a coach on the Thursday?
Yes, we've done all my badges, and again another sliding doors moment. I was at Chesterfield, which again, how did I end up there?
Yeah.
Lee Johnson came on loan from Derby. He'd been playing in the Championship, so our paths crossed. Played together for about 3 weeks. I left to go to Rochdale. A year later, never stayed in touch. Rings me out of the blue, do you want to come to Oldham? So my best mate Paul Bunny, who's now back at Oldham at the academy manager, he left Oldham at that time to go to Hartlepool as a manager. Lee needed a first team coach. Dean, do you want to come in? So I left Walsall in November as a player coach with Dean Smith. On the Tuesday, had the Wednesday off as you do in football. Yeah. And then the Thursday morning arrived at Oldham as the first team coach. So it was one moment that day. I'm sure I can tell this story. It's not too bad, but Lee Nobes, who was the physio at the time, went on to
Lee Nobes.
Brilliant.
He's at Liverpool now.
Yeah, went to Man City and then Liverpool.
How good was his as a physio?
Well, he was my go-to. So because I was at smaller, lower level clubs and stuff, good physios and that, but he was at the top. So I'd always kind of get a second opinion from him, and he's brilliant for me. But he was a physio at Oldham at the time, and obviously no one was earning that much money. So when you've not got your flip-flops on in the shower, instead of like 20 quid fine or someone's on the mobile phone in the physio, these, he used to make the lads sing in front of the players. He was good, like get them out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so come back training first morning as a coach, and there's this lad stood on this little set of steps in the physio room singing to everyone. And it's all, what do you do as a player? Well, I don't know. I've gone in and whipped his shorts down.
Yeah.
So I spent all afternoon like, oh my.
Oh no!
I could get sacked for this. And I'm making a joke out of it, but you quickly, and rightly so, by the way. So many regulations have come in and should have come in many moons ago because of the horrific stuff you've seen in young footballers. Like, it quickly made me realise, like,
So you was the coach at this point as well?
First team coach. I was a player 2 days ago.
Yeah, but that's.
I'm stood in the showers getting urinated on, and God knows what we used to go on.
Yeah.
Getting your arms cut on your jackets.
But that's where you quickly think, right, there's a line from player to coach, and that's where I need to move across to.
Yeah, it's like someone else said something to me when I became a manager. It's like, you've got to be the manager now. And again, you'll know this. Like, I was, not only had I been the assistant for 4 years with these players, I'd played with 2 of them previous.
Yeah.
Imagine me coming in and the next day, because Lee unfortunately got sacked, I got 5 games as caretaker, so you're going out as the assistant manager again, coming back in as the manager. Imagine coming in, and I've seen it myself, of this, like, dressing differently, talking to people differently, because now you've got a name above the door. You get sniffed in seconds.
Yeah.
So you've got to be comfortable enough, which I'm sat here out of work at the minute, so maybe I've not got that bit down to a T just yet, but comfortable enough in your own personality, but knowing that you're the gaffer and you've got to make the big calls.
Yeah.
But not pretending to be something you're not.
That must be the weirdest scenario ever.
But surely that transition has got to be a slow one, because you can't just within one day change from who you are as a player and like you said, start saying, like, being a manager.
But you kind of have to straight away, otherwise you ain't got that long.
Yeah,
So,
well, I
You
know
know what? I've just stayed
but as
true
a
to
player,
what I am.
like
You've got to be authentic. You've got to be genuine.
Yeah, because the player straight away will go, you know, he's changed. Like, who does he think he is? So
Exactly.
surely it's got to be a kind of a slow.
It's made easier. It's a really good question. That's made easier by. So when I did it at Bristol City, so it was just a COVID year. So remember when we had like 3 months off, we all got locked away and the weather was mint.
Yeah.
And then we come back and I think we played like 10 games.
With no crowd and all stuff like that.
Lee got sacked unfortunately after 5, and then I got the last 5, and then there was about a 3-week break, and then the new season started.
Right.
And that's when I got the manager's job. So
were they in the champ then?
in the championship, yeah. So when we signed some new players that summer, it was easier because they just naturally come in because football's so institutionalised.
Yeah.
It was all, you're right, gaffer, because that's what they call you. Whereas when the lads were calling me gaffer that I'd played, it was all a bit.
Yeah.
But over time, you're right. You find your way, don't you? And I'm still young. I've only been managing a couple of years, so no doubt I'll probably be a different type of manager in 10 years if I'm still lucky enough to be in it than I am now. But I think you have to find it through experiences rather than trying to just like read something and go, right, I'm going to pretend to be like that, because it's just not genuine. It's
anything in the pipeline? I've been linked to a few. Can I mention them?
I don't know who they are. You can say what you want. I've been
Rovers, Bristol Rovers.
I've been
Bradford.
Someone rang me on earlier the week, said like betting's been suspended on Bradford and what's going on, and I've not heard a thing.
It's weird, isn't it? There's all loads.
Yeah, I've spoke to a couple of people at different roles. I've been an assistant manager 3 times, Stoke City, Bristol City, and Oldham. Been a manager twice.
What do you prefer?
Love being a manager.
Being a manager, yeah.
Because it's all on you then, in terms of not from a power thing like an ego, but like you can really set the environment. I'm massive on, like, I know culture's this word. What does it mean? But empowering people to come in. What
is your culture then? Well, like, say, obviously, like, you can't give too much away, but you can kind of give your philosophy. If you're going into a club now, what's the kind of things that you set straight away?
You go. The first thing you do is talk about standards and daily standards, and everyone says, "Oh, we've got to focus on the game on Saturday." Well, that's 4 days away. We've got to focus on today. Today's training session needs to be as good as it can be. This might be a bit boring, I don't know, but like the sports side, like you've got to get everything right so you don't lose any players through injury that day. The team meeting's got to be bob on, so the players understand what you want. Next day, boom, is it a recovery day training? Get that spot on. Eventually, there's a thing on YouTube I've seen with Will Smith, where when they were kids, him and his younger brother, his dad, they had this big wall, and his dad knocked this wall down in the garden. And they were like, rebuild it, and he was like, yeah, but it's this massive. And his dad, and again, it's a bit David Brent this, but it's true. His dad was like, just each brick you do, just make it mint, because if it's not, it'll end up.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll get this beautiful big. And I'm a really big believer in that. Like everyone says, what's your 6 month? What's your 5-year plan? Well, I woke up in Lanzarote, my daughter unfortunately wasn't with us anymore. So I'm not the let's live for today, like let's go to Albert Schloss and like I forget. I'm not that.
Yeah.
Far from it. But I'm certainly like, let's just make the best of today.
Yeah.
And then we'll roll into tomorrow, and then we'll make the best of that one.
If you have the best day every day, it then becomes the best week. The best
And as a
month,
player,
that thing.
you'll remember, like when you put your head on the pillow on a Friday night before the game, you just want to know that you've done enough the week to prepare yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
when you've
yeah.
not, you lie there like a bit of a fraud, don't you? Like, maybe I've not ate properly this week. I've not
But you just
slept.
start
I've
to
been
second
out.
guess things, don't
Yeah.
you? Things,
You don't need it,
things
do you?
might go wrong.
So for me anyway, when I feel prepared, I feel confident. If someone rang me this afternoon, so I've got a job interview at wherever, and I've not looked at the squad, and I'm going to go in and just, I'd be nervous.
Yeah.
When I feel prepared and I'm comfortable in that scenario, that makes sense. So when I went into Charlton, invariably when you get a job, the team's struggling, and I went into Charlton. They not won for 2 months. This was at Christmas. They were 18th in the league. The remit do not go to League Two. You've got to stay in League One. We finished 10th. We were rebuilding this summer. I got 5 games and I was gone, having won the first one, but that's another story. But invariably, when you go into an environment like that, it's a bit flat. Confidence is a bit low. It was a brilliant facility because you had everyone on one site. So you had like women's team, academy, under 21s, ground staff, everyone. Some places you go to, you're training here, you're going for lunch there, the gym, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like silos. So like the canteen was like tables, and it was like women's team eat at this table, academy. And I was like, so you come in for breakfast. You know, it's like you don't all have set times, do you, in football pitch? Because you come off the training pitch, someone wants to go in the gym, someone wants to have a shower. I want to go and have me lunch now. But you'd see like a couple of first team lads on their own over there, and then you'd see 1 or 2 girls from the team over there, and the groundsman with his just bogging, because they always are. And I'm like, so within a day or two, this is not smart. It's like, why would you not want to go and get to know these people in the
together?
So, and then people again, because I'm the so-called number one, people come in and go, well, Gaffer's sat talking to whoever, the kit man or the ground lady. So all of a sudden, you started to see this nice. And naturally then, my competence as a coach in terms of setting the team up, tactics, picking the right team, all that will be you'll find your route. But underneath all that, if everybody's then within a day or two coming in going, like I said before, the country's not in a great place, like I quite want to go in today. I'm going to be, whether you're in the team or not, I'm not asked. And the first thing I said, I went to address the players. I thought I was speaking to 25 players at Charlton. And everyone was there. There's 150 people in this canteen. And I was like, I'm not prepared for this. And I just went on this mad tangent, but I started talking, and the people have come to me since and said, I liked what you said there, because I basically started waffling, but saying like, I'm not bothered if you're the best player in this club, and I'm not interested. Like, respect. Because you see it on the walls, don't you? Like, loyalty, cult. Like, what is that? You got to live it.
Yeah.
And as the lead, you got to be the example. If I come in one day, and I genuinely ate it when, because I got really close. There was an older lady at Bristol City kitchen, brilliant Jen, me and Danielle, her husband, friends, and that brilliant. You'd see her after training, genuinely, like lids of jam, and lads they've gone in with the butter, then they've gone in with the jam, and there's crumbs everywhere. And you know, when they open the little Weetabix, 2 little plastic, and they leave that, and I used to see her clean it up, and it genuinely used to wind me up. So I used to think, she should be at home now. So it's 20 minutes a day. She's arsing about cleaning up 2 hours a week, whatever it would have been, that she could have been doing. And I know it sounds, what's that got to do with a result? But it has.
No, it's standards though, isn't it?
It's standards, and it's respect, and then you start to get more. And this, I don't think you have to be even that smart to. Everybody then feels welcome. Yeah. Whether you're the lowest paid, and that's the way it should be, because somebody's decided that guy over there is going to get paid the most money, and that guy over there is going to get paid the least. Well, that's just what's that based on? Obviously hierarchy, and I understand you've got to have hierarchy for it to function. You can't have 3 managers, and you'd never make a decision. Yeah, I will always make the big calls and make the right decision, or what I believe to be the right decisions. But I just think it's really magical when you can get all that behind the scenes, and then how good you are on the Saturdays, how good your players are, and how good the preparation is from me. You know what I mean? But when you get all that together as we did, and then we got the fans in. I went to the local pub around the corner after a game, and because fans see you in the dugout, they see you on an interview. It's not real, is it? Yeah. Who you are. So you're trying to embed yourself into the southeast London quickly, because the fans were disillusioned for 10 years. Well, for 10 years they had 1 promotion season under Lee Bowyer, but they weren't even angry. It's a bit like Man United. They'd gone way past that. They just weren't even turning up. So we needed to bring them back in. But going to the pub I felt was the right thing to do, because that's where you see that, they've had a couple of beers after a game, and it's like fans forums
And
on
did
speed.
they
Yeah,
open
of course
up
they
to
did,
you?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Forum on speed.
South East London. Like, wow. But what I said something in an interview, and they picked up on it, and very quickly I realised, because I'd lived in Glasgow, playing up there, obviously from Salford, spent my whole life here, and South, even though they're like 400 miles apart, they're all quite similar.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that northern that we feel like we take for granted, like, you love your football, music, like, good sense of humour, don't take yourself too seriously, grafters,
Yeah.
help your mate out next door, if you know all that. It's sort of, and I could, even though I was miles away from home, like 4 days before Christmas, I was in London on a phone call. It was like, not prepared for this.
Yeah.
But we threw ourselves into it, and I think you've got to do that to get everybody on side. It's different at the top level. You can rock up at, you're a top coach, Pep gets. So going back to what you're asking, my CV I don't think necessarily would jump to the top of a list. If a League One job comes up today, there'll be 100 applicants for that, easy.
Yeah.
Well, you know this, Gaz, don't you?
Yeah.
So, and it's how good your agent is of how quickly you can get to the top of that shot. It is. It's
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to go for 100. They're not. They're going to shortlist that. And I always think if I can get in front of someone, I'm answering your question now about the rumours and stuff. I'd like to think that there'll be a good discussion. And sometimes it's a PowerPoint, and this is how we want to play, and philosophy and style of play. And other times I've been for one where it's just like it's this in a restaurant, and you're kind of just trying to get your personality across, because I don't like the idea of going into an interview. And this might sound really naive, I might change as I get older, and like bullshit my way through an interview to get this job, and then 3 months down the line they turn up and the owners and that, I'm like, that's not the guy we interviewed. Like, who's this? Because you'll be out of a job very quickly and nobody wins, do they?
Yeah.
What's the
You
point?
might as well be authentic, and if you get the job from being authentic, then
Exactly.
you're fine, aren't you?
So I've got a good record behind me. The one at Bristol City, we were joint 7th in the championship
Yeah.
when I got sacked from there. We 50% win ratio in the championship. It stacks up.
You must have been surprised, like getting the sack there, and then how you got the sack at Charlton as well.
It's difficult because it's you know what it is. It's more telling. It's like ringing my old man and telling the kids. And like the one at Charlton, we were at it was Bank Holiday Sunday. I got the phone call.
Did you know it would come in?
No. There'd been some things in the summer, new ownership, and I was aware of one or two things, but I still thought I'd be given more time because we'd got the team to 10th, kept them up, and then had four or 5 games.
Yeah.
And we're bringing young players through. And
It was early, weren't it?
I was sticking to the remit of young players and stuff. We had players injured. It's the life of a manager.
Yeah.
That's why I don't hold on to it. You move on to the next one. Proud of what you've done, but it's like we were at a family festival thing, and Danielle's having it was a Sunday, Bank Holiday Sunday.
Yeah.
Danielle's having a couple of glasses of wine with the mums from school, like you do, and then the kids are on the trampoline, and I just got myself a hot dog or what from one of them caravan things, and she said, as soon as I said, she said she knew because she'd probably lived it. So then you've got to go and like get the kids, and then it's the sudden. You know what it is? It's a suddenness because you're all in, and you wake up next morning, you're literally like, it's not even the routine. It's like, I should be at work now.
It's gone.
Done.
It's gone.
And you don't even. I didn't go back to chat like.
That never happens as a player because you've always got a contract.
Of course.
So you always prepare for when it's going to end, or obviously like a deadline or whatever. Like you know it's coming, and you have a bit of a choice as a manager. You can have 18 months, 2 years left. You're sacked.
You
That's
don't,
it. Day dot, you're gone.
We've got a really top young player there, Miles Leeburn. So you remember his dad, Carl, Charlton legend. Well, Miles' mum, Tracy, she's like head of player care. So she like gets you sorted in your accommodation. She's like the mum. She's unbelievable. So the next day, her and Donna, the girl on reception, brilliant. They like FaceTiming me from my office at the training ground, going like, "What's yours? What do you want us to pack up?" So I had like a Subbuteo. Going back to how players learn again, before you have tactics boards on walls with little red and blue magnets, and some players can't. So we had a Subbuteo table. I love Subbuteo. I'm addicted to it. Like as kids, we had this little stand and the little police dogs and the fence and the floodlight. I love it. Anyway, so we had, because genuinely,
That's how you do your tactics.
Well, 1-to-1 with players, not so much in a team meeting, but like when you've got a player in and it's like looking down on this pitch and the little players and goals.
It is easier to
more
see
visual.
than a board.
It's more visual, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I had to say, right, so they're FaceTiming going, and it was like a doctor's office when I'd gone into the office. It was just white office with a desk, and we had, me being me, I've got my incense sticks going every morning. I've got my plants, pictures of the kids and the family, and a little memorabilia for my dad when he was a kid and whatever. So I'm like, yeah, that's mine. So it's done. So they pack all that away. We had to go back to London to unpack. We'd had an apartment down there. We were about to buy an house.
Oh.
We were about to buy an house. My oldest, Joey, left school, was about to go into the academy. So you got
At
all
Charlton?
these. He was at Charlton, and then he had the opportunity to go to Bromley.
Right.
And we were like, do we leave him down there? Do we? And he made it had to be his decision. He wanted to come back and like say, luckily he's been fixed up at Oldham. So it's worked out brilliantly. But you're trying to pack the apartment away into the back. Have you ever played boot Tetris? Every time your boot gets close to closing, it makes that noise, that beep, and then it starts to open again, and you're like,
Are
So,
you
life of a
open
manager.
to managing anyway?
Yeah. I'm open to being. I really enjoy being an assistant. I think I'm a better assistant having been a manager because you understand walking in the shoes off. If a job come around as an assistant coach in the, I don't know, maybe a really good
Higher
chance.
level.
So I'd really look at that. Obviously manager. I'm not sort of pigeonholing myself to Northwest. Let's say Danielle's up and out of London 3 times a week now with her work. So literally I'm doing Duolingo Arabic just in case Saudi come on the phone.
Are you actually?
No.
I was on my Duolingo Spanish on the plane last. I do it all the time. I try and do.
So you come back from Turkey, you're in Paris, and you're learning Spanish.
Yeah.
He thinks. I don't know who he thinks he is nowadays, but
International agent now, and I'm stepping up. No, but like I'm a little bit.
I went to Snowdon.
I have a thing that comes up, a reminder every day, and it's like improve yourself hour. So I'll just do anything. I'll listen to like a podcast or like do my like Duolingo or anything, like learn about football info.
as well.
Just stuff every day to try and improve yourself, don't you?
You know what I found genuinely?
Come on, Gim.
I found that like you'll get old enough. And
It definitely comes of age. It definitely comes of age.
I realised it's great to learn because when if I get a call today, I'll be there tomorrow at the club. I'll be in front of a group of players for that first meeting, which is a massive meeting, because players, like I say, they get you straight away or they don't. I need to know. We'll have a game in 2 days, so I'll need to know about the opposition. I'll be doing the media. So it's that quick. So you're trying to, when something comes and you think I might have half a sniff of getting an opportunity there, you start to do your research. So that's where I'm spending a lot of my time at the moment. But more about learning, you're trying to upskill yourself. But I think you get a sense of like achievement. So if you come to our house in the morning at 7:15, you'll see. Well, Danielle will have been in the ice bath.
I'll just be coming down the stairs.
The two oldest are doing it now. The two oldest are doing it now. So, but the two oldest have picked up on it because they see mum and dad doing it. So it's almost like all right, I'll have a look. So, and this is not the oracle. It's just I get out of the ice bath in the morning. I do my Wim Hof. It's 12 minutes to go through the.
12 minutes
on
is
YouTube,
some time in an ice bath.
Down to you. We've just got one of these little blow up, 90 quid on Amazon. Little blow up. And my son did my son got in it and he did like one of these Instagram things and he took, and I think it's called, I won't say on here, but it's whatever. There's a few. And he did this picture and included them as part of his Instagram. And then this company was unbelievable. They realised it's like little sticks that hold it all together. They realised one of them was bent. Well, he weren't doing it for that reason. He was just going, look at me in the ice bath. And they went, oh, we've realised that's not great. We'll send you another. So we've actually got 2.
Bro.
We've actually got 2 now. Anyway, I don't even know why I told you that story. Good customer service, innit? I wish Polar, I think they were called. Polar. Anyway,
No, but it's about teaching your kids as well, like
good habits.
Good habits, of course, yeah.
I need to start.
Don't get me wrong, go out at the weekend sometimes and you wake up and but it's not, life's not perfect, far from it, but if you can be consistent, I think.
Yeah.
So when I get out of the ice bath, I don't know, 7:15, I've done already at that time of the day, I genuinely feel mental health because of the physiological effects of the water, which is why we do it. But you almost have a sense of achievement at 7:15. You've not really done anything other than an ice bath. There's just get up and go about you. Yeah. Now other people might do it. Yeah, older guys going meditation. But that'll be the same fella that will get up and walk to the shop and get his paper and walk back every day, and that's his time to.
That's his kind of meditation.
He'll knit for a pint, or he'll go golfing, and that's all. You're not going sitting on the Himalayas with all the Buddhists. You're just clearing your mind. And when people like shout it down, I'm like,
do you get your players to do it?
We did it in the summer. We went to Spain on pre-season with Charlton this summer, and we did. Yeah, we walked and we got them up at 7 in the morning again, which they're not used to. Got them down to about 15-minute walk down to the beach. Got down there, stripped down to your shorts, and then we all lay around in a circle and we put him on a big speaker, Wim Hof, and we did the thing. And then we got him in the water.
How did they take it? Were they?
They were all in. All of them.
I'd love that.
They were all embedded in. But someone asked me this, like, did anyone like? They were all bought into it, which I just say to, it's like we brought yoga in. I'm like, just try it once, please. Just force a player to do anything. No. He'll do it, but he won't buy into it. So what's the point? I'd rather they just didn't do it. So you're trying to say, come on, open your mind. Here's the reasons, by the way. This is evidence-based. This is not Dean Holden going, oh. They try it. Majority of them carried it on. Some of them didn't. Some came to see me. That's not for me. Great. You've tried something. Yeah. But very early in my tenure at Christmas, we drew the first game, lost the second one. And I went in on the Thursday morning, and rather than a video nasty and like calling people out and that, I don't even know why I did this. I put a picture of me and Cece on the screen and then went through the story and explained what I'd been through and what I do now. And I think it was a bit of a do not waste a day.
Yeah.
Like, don't waste a day. You're young footballers. And again, you don't know when you're younger, do you? Because you've got these older guys going, your career goes like, and you can't.
You don't believe them.
You're trying to just say, this is the most magical part of your life. With your mates, you're playing, you can be treated really well, you're obviously paid really, you're good, just give it everything every day. And it was almost like, I'm going to name a team in 2 days, and there's 11 people in here that are going to be buzzing, and there'll be 14, 15 players, more, that are going to be unhappy. But if you were in the team, what would you want your teammates that are not in the team to do? Would you want them to mope about and slag the manager, or would you want them to be like, I was trying to create this team, and they all signed up to it. Yeah. And I front-ended it because I know, because I've been there for 20 odd years, as you two will know, you get to a point in the season, you might have lost a couple of games, and all of a sudden there's corridor chat and the manager and the coaching and the player, and why is he in the team, and why? And at that point, someone's tossing training off. You don't want to have to stop training and go on in. You just don't get me wrong, I've done it. But if you get them at the very beginning and go...
Do you want the lads to manage that?
I'm sure they will nowadays. But yeah, of course you do. You're trying to give player-led ownership all the time. Of course, I've learned that's what I've been learning when I've been to the rugby teams recently. That's what you're trying to learn, this environment. Yeah. But more often than not, if you front-end it and get them all to buy in and go, please, don't look me in the eye and say you're going to do all this stuff. You're not in the team in 3 months' time, and don't look me in the eye and mug me off now and say, I'm going to do it, Gaffer, and then don't do it. Don't do it. So none of them's going to go, no, I can't sign up to that. So they all look you in the eye and I'm like, don't mug me. Are we all in or what? It's not easy picking a team. I've been a player. I was the player that weren't in the team a lot of the time, so I know how it feels. They all sign up for it. So 3 months down the line, when someone wants to toss training off, it's easy. Hang on a minute, mate.
You looked me in the eye and you said yeah.
And nobody wants to be called out for being a fraud, do they?
No.
So, again, what do I know? I'm at work, but I've learned these things along the way, and that's why I love it.
I'm sure there'll be a few chairmen out there that...
Oh, hopefully listen to this,
like your style, do you know what I mean?
Who's in your short kind of management time? Who's the best player you've seen, trained with,
worked
managed?
With, yeah.
Who you work with?
We had a lad on loan last season, Jez Raksaki, who's at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, he keeps coming on at the minute, doesn't he?
He's getting some game time at the moment. Phenomenal player. Right winger, left-footed, balance. He's like a skier who gets knocked off the ball, but he's not one of these 10-step overs for the sake of it. He's like, he'll make the right decision. He's only young, drives in, and used to come in and a clapped out punto, like not bothered about it. Earning good money, by the way, Palace, but not interested.
That's what you want, doesn't it? So
Dad and brother own a barbers in Elephant and Castle down in London. Like, just proper young player who wants to give everything he's got. There was some, top talent. It's one of the best academies in the country in League One, Charlton, in the Premier League and everything, like the players coming through. So we gave loads of debuts to players that are going to go on. There's loads of them, but he's the one, I would say, that's like at the top. The one, Bristol City before that would have been Alex Scott, who's just signed for Bournemouth.
Gone to Bournemouth, yeah.
And Semenyo, and we gave the debut to. He's a great story. Never played for an academy till he was 16.
Really?
Mum and Dad wanted him to further his education, get his A-levels. And I'm looking at him going, how on earth? I mean, he's 6 foot, he's like rapid. You wouldn't know what footed he was. Strong.
So where was it? Where did they pick him up from?
He went to a local college in Bristol. And Brian Tinian, who's now at Bristol City, is the technical director, got eyes on him and brought him in. And you're going, wow, how's this guy been? Because it was only later on at 14, 15 when he decided to turn the offers down and stay in full-time. Like 8 till 13, he'd not been spotted by anyone. You're going, what
crazy,
classes are these scouts around
here? Especially nowadays.
But again, it's opportunity
often,
again.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
He must have been smoking that college league. Can you imagine? But we played against, remember Joel Lolly?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, Huddersfield.
We played against him.
Yeah, he came out of a uni scheme, didn't he?
Preston Uni. And we'd been out the night before. We heard this lad was decent, so one of our better players, Zach, he was like, I'll just mark him out of the game, don't worry about him. He can't be that good. He plays for Preston Yukon. Mate, we got beat 6-0. I think he scored 5.
Really? Was that good?
Frightening. Like, I was like, I might bring myself on here and like try and get near him, and then I looked and I thought, nah, I'm not even doing that. There's so many people watching, I thought, I'm not embarrassing myself. He was unbelievable. And then, obviously, where did he get his move to after
Forest,
that?
Huddersfield,
yeah, it was like
Forest.
I think it was about a month after. And
Never know, do
Zach
you?
turns around and says, I fucking knew he was decent because I'm not that bad. But yeah, it's one of them where you just find them.
So where's your next step then?
I've got my phone on air, but it's quite nice for me because this what we're in probably
Yeah,
hour and a half
probably
in.
more,
Yeah,
I'm
just
not-
add it on airplane.
Check your
mode,
phone
just
a lot.
enough. Yeah.
When
Go and turn it on now.
When you get sacked, it's a funny story. When you get sacked, your phone goes nuts, like because it appears on the yellow ticker.
Yeah.
When me and David Dunn got done at Oldham, Dunny come in as manager, I was assistant. As the chairman was telling us that we'd been sacked because it was David Dunn, bit of a name. As he's telling us he's been sacked, the telly behind him, David Dunn sat, and we're like, how's this got out? This is bang out
That's
of order.
quick,
We're being
yeah.
told as it's
coming.
It's on there.
then you're like, my old man's at work, he's got, so, but your phone goes nuts for about 2-3 days. Like, good people in the games, loads of good, I'm really sorry, it's a poor industry, it's crazy, isn't it? And then after about day 4, you're like, is my phone on airplane mode or what?
It just stops.
And then you get that one guy after about 2 weeks that goes, that's obviously forgot, that goes, I knew you'd be getting inundated for the first couple of days, so I thought I'd leave it.
Yeah. Or you get the ones that go in, I missed the game at the weekend, how did you do?
Oh, here's a funny one.
Yeah,
My
you're
sister's
like,
birthday a couple of weeks ago, right? So I'm in Monton, Manchester,
Yeah.
with my dad and my sisters and having something to eat. And there's this lad down, seen him for 20 odd years, used to knock about, a bit older than me, used to play football against each other. And Michael Appleton, who's now gone in at Charlton as manager's from Eccles near me. So it must have been a bit of a nervous moment, like you said before, when you do something like, all right, yeah, he sat with this girl. Must have been a first date. They're having a glass of champagne. It's like 1 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, mate, you're right. Yeah, he's going, so what are you up to now? How's the job going? I'm like, no, I've just been sacked about a week before that. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear. I said, do you hear anything off Happy nowadays or anything? I was like, he's just
Just got the job.
revolving door. And he was like, he didn't know where to put himself, but I was like, listen, it's fine. It is what it is. It's funny. But,
Carry on with your day.
Who's your best manager who you look up to?
Just in the game?
Just in the game, yeah.
It's probably a hard question, and he's not one. I mean, everyone, Guardiola, the way they play, Jurgen Klopp, what he's done for Liverpool.
Like,
De Zerbi at the moment, what he's doing with Brighton, I went to the old game at Old Trafford a few weeks ago, and he's found this style of play that now even Pep and you see England, John Stones, they stand on the ball with the studs and they wait, and that's all come from De Zerbi. So I think, where's he found that from? Has he invented it over when he was in Italy in the lower leagues? So a lot of credit that he's not just coming and being copying someone else. Everyone's trying to play like Pep, aren't they? Even in League 2 now.
Even in our league.
As
It's frightening.
as a manager of like yourself, like you can respect them guys, but you're never really gonna coach at the minute like they do, are you? Like you're not gonna get your players to do that style of.
You've got to have your own
football.
ideas, haven't you?
Yeah,
and you
of course
pick
you
up
have.
things off loads of people. Now, again, it's circumstance. So when I went, sorry to keep bringing it back, it's just the experience. But Charlton at Christmas, not won for 2 months. The pitch had turned, it was crap.
Yeah.
So your best centre back that can play with the ball is injured. The crowd were getting on because they were conceding soft goals. The
You're
previous
not getting a centre half to stand on it to wait for
well,
someone
the previous
to engage
manager wanted,
you
that's what
to
the
then-
previous
in the
manager
mud.
wanted him to play like. And for the first 6 months of the season, they popped Plymouth 5-1 at home. Plymouth got promoted, so they played some good stuff. But once the pitches turned and you lose a few players and fans come on, I went in there. We needed to get away from that. We needed to keep the door shut and go and play in the opposition's half of the pitch. That was circumstantial. If you're there pre-season, as we were this year, and you're getting some good players in, and you think, right, we can play like this. Of course, you look at all the top people and try, but you can't copy anyone, can you?
No.
You've got to play it. If I was managing you, if we'd have took you to Walsall then, genuinely, and asked you to go and play like Dennis Burke, like you need to be the best version of you. What is your strengths and weaknesses, and try and marry it all together and put it into a style. I really like.
I can't believe you're going to put Jordan and Dennis Burke.
Where did Burke come from
Where
then?
did that come from? If I asked you to go and play like Dennis, no, forget that.
I like Kenzo Maresca at Leicester.
Yeah.
I'm going watching them tonight. I'm going to. They're playing.
I
Leeds tonight.
think they'll win league, won't they?
I think they're the.
What is
them
it,
and
Leicester
Ipswich.
Leeds tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go. It's on Sky. But when you're there, you can see everything. Can't you?
Yeah.
Kieran McKenna at Ipswich, but they battered us last season. They've hardly recruited anyone, and now second top championship.
Yeah.
Kieran's brilliant. He'd be one I got to know him quite well when he was at United. So he was living in Altrincham, young coach, younger than me. 30, I think he's 38 now, isn't he? But retired really young at Tottenham, gone into their youth system. Mourinho ended up, I think, bringing him to United. And when he's working with Ole Gunnar and all, he was running the whole football programme.
Right.
So you see Ole Gunnar, you see Michael Carrick, you see Mike Phelan, you see who's that guy? He was running he was the brains.
Right.
And I got to know him pretty well and played against him and he's got some really good ideas. No ego, just happy to share.
And he's happy, like we said before, about inviting you down, watching your training, sitting down with them, and
yeah, and I've done that at loads of places, and some it's different because some get you in, and it's a bit, you've got in there because you know someone or a phone call with the manager, and it's like, hey, come in Thursday morning, whatever it is, and you get there, and it's nuts because players are coming into the canteen, and I'm like, you always know someone, don't you, that you've played with.
Yeah.
And then they might do a team meeting, and some of them will go like, come on, come in. Others will be a bit like, just hang about there. The analyst will go through it afterwards because you want to be a bit more, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank's the best at Brentford. Thomas is like, in you come, like, and he's grilling you about how you found it. What he's trying to use you almost in a nice way to see how you can pick things apart in their game plan. So I always like to go into a club. I'm going into, I know Stuart Webber really well, sporting director at Norwich.
Right.
Well, they're struggling a bit at the moment. I've agreed with him to go in. You're going for 4 days and it's relentless. They have this full programme. You go into every department, medical, sport, and they're using my experience. Not that I might not know anything, but to pick apart where, because sometimes
you miss something.
You're in, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you need some external.
Yeah.
But Thomas, and he's brilliant because he just lets you in on everything, and he's asking me questions about how I found it when I play against them team, and it's good for your confidence. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah.
Because you're out the game, you always feel a bit, where's my next job coming? And
Did
it's good to be involved with these types of guys. Because
Oldham job not tickle your fancy?
Did it not? No, I never applied for it, and they never came to me. No. I need to really make the next one work because Bristol City brilliant, but I was out in 7 months, different reasons politically. Charlton similar.
No disrespect to Oldham.
No, you want to be looking higher, but you played
no
there.
disrespect at all. It's a great club.
You've played there. That's all I was
Higher,
thinking.
though, don't you?
But again, open to. You know what? I want to manage in the top. I want to be the best. I can't be the best manager in the world because who's to say you're not going to become a manager and be better than me? So how can I be? I can be the best I can be. Right?
Yeah.
Now,
I can guarantee that's not going to happen.
But to get to where I want to get to, the very top level of managing, now do I need to go and be a manager at a League 2 club at the moment, or a League 1 or Championship to get there? Or have I still got chinks in my armour where I need to keep learning? And maybe it's best to go in working with a top manager in the Premier League or the Championship,
and learn from
and then
him
in a year or two's time, then I'm ready to.
Yeah,
because there's loads of different avenues, isn't there? You don't have to be a manager to be a manager. You can jump in from. And it's a long-term game for me.
Yeah.
I want to manage at the top level eventually.
Well, you are still only young, aren't you?
Thank you. 44, yeah. So.
Go on, what we saying?
Yeah,
about
no,
Nicky?
last one from Nicky. He said, obviously, talking about teammates saving you, he saved you from getting battered by Jimmy Bell at Huddersfield away, apparently.
I know what he's talking about. He didn't save me from getting battered. He saved me from getting sacked for having to go back, probably. Yeah. Jimmy's John Coleman's assistant. They're at Accrington.
Oh, no, that's
right. They were at Accrington for years, and then they came to
I was just going to
Rochdale.
say, I thought the name rang a bell.
Rang a
Weren't
bell.
actually a joke.
Excuse the pun. The weirdest thing in all that on the Monday morning on the Rochdale website, when you put like the match report up, they have pictures and stuff. The headline picture was side on at the dugout at Huddersfield, which is one of these like perspex. Looks like a football goal.
Yeah.
You see through, and it was the picture of me and Jimmy Bell like face to face, like, and it was like, what? Anyway, I never got to the bottom of why they did that, but they'd come in. They were bringing a lot of their own players in, and there was a few things I didn't like that were going on in the background. And played Huddersfield away. I played really well actually in the game against Jordan Rhodes, and then they brought me off. And as I come off, I went to shake his hand, and he sort of just gave me, he just sort of half. And I went and sat in the dugout. So you've got the manager and the coach and Jimmy at the front, and we're on the row behind. Nicky sat next to me here, and a couple of minutes later, one of the most surrealist things that's ever happened to me in my life. I'm just sat there like this, and Jimmy, the assistant manager, just gone like the full force with the back of his head just gone like bang like that, right into me.
No way.
And it just completely caught me, and just a reaction, which I'd never do that to a coach or manager. But the reaction, I just obviously grabbed hold of the back of his thing, and I've got my head in the back of his head, and it's just all Nicky, obviously. I don't know. I've never spoke to him about why that happened, but
That's a strange
passion.
one, isn't it? Throwing
Let's
headbutts.
put it down to passion,
throwing
shall we?
headbutts.
We don't hold grudges, do we?
From a coach?
We don't hold grudges.
No.
Put it down to passion.
Yeah. Good one to end on.
Very good. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in.
Thanks for having me in.
Fingers crossed you get that phone call soon, because I think having you out of the game is a big minus.
Positive. Are you going to say negative?
No, a big minus, big negative. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I hope to see you in a job soon, pal.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cheers for coming.
Cheers.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for telling us all the stories, the good and the bad.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Good luck.